It's the Mixed Martial Arts Hour with
The Mixed Martial Arts Hour is back in your life on this Wednesday, October 6, 2021. Hello again, everyone. Hope you're doing well on this Wednesday, chilly Wednesday in New York City. Last show for a week. I told you last show on Monday, I told you we're off this coming Monday, Indigenous Peoples Day. So get us while you can. And my friends, we got a lot to discuss with a lot of interesting people. We don't have 17 guests on today's show. We have 5 spectacular guests. We got GC and Helwani. We got your questions on the nose. Hit us up, arielhelwani.substack.com. That's where you can leave said questions. I hope they're good. I hope they're dicey. I hope they're juicy. I hope they're succulent. And I hope they're the ones I'm looking for, because we got a few things to discuss. And you know, do we want to go there? Do we want to take the high road, or do we want to take the low road? Do we want to take the high road? Do we want to take the low road? You know what I'm going to say. When they go low, we now go lower. That's the new motto of this program. It's no more going high. We're now going lower. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a fun time on today's program. Later in the show, we are going to talk to Zhang Weili, the former UFC strawweight champion. Of course, she returns to action on November 6th, Madison Square Garden against Rose Namajunas. It's a rematch of a fight that happened back in April. Looking forward to talking to Zhang, who is now living in Arizona, training out of Fight Ready in Arizona. Headman Eddie Cha. I'm hearing like a weird thing in my headphones. Is that just me, or are you guys hearing it as well?
Hearing what?
I'm hearing like a weird feedback thingy in my headphones. If it's just me, I can live with it. I just want to make sure that no one else is hearing it.
It's just you for now.
All right. Someone's trying to mess with me. Get me off my game. But we are unflappable here. So anyway, Zhang Weili is going to join us at around 3:30. Talk to her about the title fight, the rematch, the loss, why she moved to Arizona, the short hair, a lot going on in her life. We will also talk to TJ Dillashaw. TJ Dillashaw, of course, coming off that fight against Corey Sandhagen, hotly contested fight, close fight. He got the nod, had to have surgery after. We spoke to Corey Sandhagen on Monday, talked to him about the bantamweight division, about his return. It's been a while since I talked to TJ Dillashaw, so I'm looking forward to that. We'll talk to Tommy Fury at 2 o'clock, the younger half-brother of Tyson Fury. What an interview that was on Monday. What a conversation. I'm looking forward to talking to Tommy very much. You know how I feel about those eyes, those baby blues. But that conversation with Tyson, I think, as I've had some time to digest, I think might be my top five favorite interview of all time. Special stuff. It was really cool. He went to a special place, and I'm very appreciative, and I can't wait for Saturday, Fury Wilder 3. So we'll talk to Tommy Fury. 2:30, we'll do GC and Helwani, so get the betting slips ready. At 1:20, we're going to be joined by Bellator President Scott Coker, and he's going to break multiple pieces of news. So call your friends, call your mom, call your neighbors, call your sister, your brother, your dog, your cat. Let the employees at PF Chang's know. At 1:20, multiple pieces of news from the man Scott Coker. But first, let's go to the Zoom machine and say hello to one half of the UFC headliner on Saturday night, the one and only Mackenzie Dern, kind enough to join us. And she's got a very tight schedule, they told me. If you go past 1:15, she's going to come here and choke you out. So I won't do that. Mackenzie, how are you?
I'm good. They didn't tell you that we run on Brazilian time. Brazilian time is always,
okay.
10.
That's perfect. So that means I could go late with you and no one's going to get mad at me, right? Because Jordan told me, don't go late. Am I allowed to be on Brazilian time too, or just you?
Yeah, we can be on Brazilian time.
Okay.
It's okay.
All good, all good. I'm a man of my word, so we'll get you out here on time. Mackenzie, congratulations on all your success as of late. Big deal for you. Main event, first time in the UFC. I haven't talked to you in a while. And the part that I've been blown away by is the transformation of your game, your skills, but also your physique. the muscles, the strength. Who is responsible for all of this? Because it seems like ever since you became a mom, you have leveled up. You've got that mom strength now, and it's very impressive.
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely the last fights, like with Nina, she was my first top 5. So I felt I was caught up with just kind of timing and all the things I had missed out or like kind of fallen back during my whole pregnancy. So the strength training was kind of like the last thing I was thinking about. I was just kind of like, man, I want to be able to get, throwing punches again and just feeling comfortable. So then my fight with Nina, I'm like, hey, this is top 5. We gotta take to the next notch, next level. So then I brought in Rogério Camões. He's the strength trainer for Anderson Silva. He's worked like with Vitor Belfort, with a lot of different people, Jacare Souza. From Brazil. He's a longtime family friend. He's like my uncle, my dad back from their judo days. So he's been really helping me get my strength training. He stays 2 months out here with me, just kind of making sure I do all my strength training like the right way and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just the more I was seeing like how you do everything the right way and take everything serious, the things work, It's like
it's amazing.
You kind of yeah, it's really that easy, It's not that it's easy, but when you work hard and you start to have the results, not just like temporary results, you start to have long-term results, and that's what's really, really good. And I'm seeing the things working out. And like before, it was kind of good. My first UFC fights, I kind of was trying to develop in the UFC, like working my striking, like, hey, go out in these brawls and things like that. And now, as you get closer to being like the champ and things like that, everyone's just so good, so you really need to take advantage of what your strengths are. Obviously, I'm seeing that the ground is at a different level than the other girls in the division, so I just need to take advantage of that. And I kind of got out of the way all those brawling times,
Mm-hmm.
I think that was important to show people that, hey, if I need to do that, stay the 5 rounds brawling on striking and everything, I can do it. I'm not scared to break my nose or whatever. But it's still the most dangerous on the ground. So definitely, I think just everything's kind of coming together, and I'm happy. I think that's when it's important. When you're happy doing what you do, everything flows more.
So I will be honest with you, Mackenzie. Obviously, we've heard about you for a long time, and you were doing great things in jiu-jitsu, and then you come over to MMA, and there was a lot of hype surrounding you. But let's be honest, in the early days, there were some stumbles, the weight, all this stuff. And I was hearing from people, oh, she's not dedicated. She doesn't want to get punched. She doesn't want to spar. And I wondered how long you would stick around. And then you became a mom, and then, that's a great reason to not fight anymore. And so I was wondering, instead, what happened was you became infinitely better. But be honest with me, was there a point in those early days with the weight and the scale and the drama and all that where you were like, you know what? Who needs this crap? I don't need to do this anymore. Let me just go back to a simple life, the jiu-jitsu life. I'll have a family. I don't want to do this cage fighting stuff. Were you ever close to saying no mas, no more?
No, I never. No. I never had like a problem getting punched in the face, or things like that. I always liked to do it. Was always kind of like, brought out kind of that aggression in me and things like that. But it was having fun. I was just kind of like, okay. I was liking kind of all the tension, I would go like to Brazil and just parties and all these, oh, I just did a UFC fight. You're kind of like getting famous and things like that. So I was having fun. I was liking it, it's very temporary, that as soon as I became pregnant, I saw like, okay, lost the sponsors. Everyone just kind of like basically left you, like kind of gave up on you kind of thing. Like, oh, you're not going to come back. And people were seeing the potential in me before me. I wasn't even thinking about the belt when I was in the UFC. I was just taking one fight at a time and, enjoying the ride and things like that. And definitely, I always knew I'd be like active even after I have a baby, because I grew up watching my dad compete. That's like some of the best life lessons, just watching my dad make weight, cut weight, wins and the losses and all the hard work he's been through. So I definitely knew I wanted to kind of pass that to my kid, even if she would be a fighter or not, but in her life, those are definitely some good habits and good life lessons to take with you. So I knew I'd still be active. And as soon as I was pregnant and I knew I lost all the fans, I was like, man, I need to get back as soon as possible. That's even why, not that I lost because of the pregnancy, but I 100% knew that coming back 4 months post-pregnancy, my chances of losing were obviously a little bit higher than if I didn't, but that could have been like a knee injury, could have been a back injury, it could have been like a, I don't know, mindset problem. And anytime you stay too long out from being punched in the face with 4-ounce gloves, you have a little bit higher chance. That's like training, you know, you need to kind of get used to getting that 100% people trying to like break your nose, elbow you and things like that. So no matter how much sparring you do, nothing compares just to being in there and that momentum of fighting and fighting and fighting like the 100% like we did. So from the beginning of my career, I've always kind of done back-to-back fights from LFA to Invicta to the UFC. It was kind of like my debut was in March, then I fought again in Rio in May. Then I got pregnant, but then when I came back, it's like been October, April, you know, just keep going. Now I'm like maybe a little bit over a year, 2 years, and this will be my 6th fight. So yeah, I just like to keep the momentum going, you know, and yeah, I'm growing as a fighter, and you realize each step you go, it's like, okay, now we're top 5. Okay, now we're going to be the champion. You need to keep stepping up your level and just evolving. And Jason Perillo has been helping me with that. So it's really good.
I see the difference. Obviously, Jason, one of the best coaches in the game. You win on Saturday, Mackenzie. What makes sense next? Do you want are you going to call for Valentina? Are you going to say you want her next? What are you going to say? You're going to get on the microphone and you're going to call out Valentina. Is that what you're saying, Mackenzie?
Man, I need to beat Rose or Zhang Weili first before I go up a weight class.
Oh, come on.
But yeah, no, definitely have plans to go up a weight a little bit in the future. But no, this fight is so important. I'm looking at this fight like it's a title fight. You know, I'm not even thinking about Rose or Zhang Weili. They fight, I think, November 6th, 1 month after us, you know. Yes. So I'm looking at Marina as this is a title fight because I really believe that depending how this fight goes, I could be up next for the belt, you know. So definitely we're not in a rush. If I see like maybe I won, but still had some spots. I mean, Marina, she's a straight up Muay Thai striker, you know. So I think this would be a great test to see like, okay, how I will do with the top 2 girls at champs, you know. So if I go in a perfect performance, you know, no holes, nothing like that, for sure I'll probably do that. You know, I've always wanted to do that, like call out with the best, you know.
Yes.
But if not, who knows? Maybe Carla Esparza will want to fight. You know, I don't know if she'll want to wait out until we see who wins, and then when the champ will want to fight again. But I definitely want to keep momentum, so I don't want to stay too long waiting for the champ. The champ can kind of choose when they want to fight, right?
Sure.
So,
and because the timing, that's, you know, the reason I brought up Valentina was because I know you fought at 125 before, and there's a bit of a backlog at 115, and there's no one for Valentina, so I thought maybe you'd want to jump up. But it sounds like you're comfortable at 115. Like maybe you'll never fight at 125 again. Is that fair?
No, I'll fight for sure. Definitely.
Okay.
I definitely want to go up a weight. Like you said, I fought there before. You know, my weight's good. I'm 117 this morning.
Wow.
So I'm doing like basically on weight, but definitely I want to gain some muscle and go up and kind of be like a 125er, not how I was the old Mackenzie.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
like
yes.
The new reinvented.
Yes. And a reinvigorated as well. Now, do you travel with your daughter? Do you bring her with you?
Yes, I don't know. I have the toys. I have the blanket here. She's here, thankfully. The kind of not quarantined now. So
yes.
It's crazy. From Hannah Cyphers in April was the beginning of the pandemic. My daughter's like on the other hotel, and I'm like saying hi to her before I go to the fight. So now her just like running around and causing around the hotel. So it's definitely fun, do new experiences. But it's cool. Like kind of everyone in the UFC is like knows her, you know, and just getting used to her, and it's really fun.
Do you feel like it grounds you, like it gives you perspective? Because on fight week, it's all about the fight and it's so intense and it can consume your mind. But you have to be a mom too. You have to be there for your daughter, and she's very dependent on you. She's what, less than 2 years old at this point, or around 2 years old?
Yeah, 2 years old, 2 and 3 months.
So do you almost feel like, because I could see some people saying, oh, it's a distraction, it's too much. But I'm wondering if it's actually a blessing because it allows you to think about other things and prioritize your life.
Yeah, no, 100%. For me, it helps. You know, I like to be. A lot of people like to kind of leave their home and, you know, get into that, like you said, get into that competition mindset. For me, I like to be as normal as possible, almost like it's one day in this training, one day in the sparring. So unless you have like crazy jet lag with, I don't know, Abu Dhabi or something, I try to go like as close as I can to the fight. Thankfully, I have my husband here too, so he definitely helps me. But like this last night, Moa, she sleeps on the bed next to us, and she likes waking up. She wants to like hold my hand while she's sleeping. And at home, she sleeps in her bed all by herself, you know. But I think because we're here in this like little area, she's like a little bit more, you know, wanting to be closer. Sure. So my husband definitely helps me a lot. He'll take her out for during interviews or something like that. But it's good. It's definitely good to have her here, and just that's the whole reason why I fight. You know, that's the motivation. So I have my motivation with me every step of the way. It's like I don't need to keep reminding myself. It's like normal there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope that Jordan and Tim over at Paradigm are watching because it's exactly 1:15:00. They said you can't go past 1:15. We're going to cut your head off. And so I'm out of time. Unfortunately, you're a very busy star. You're the main event, Mackenzie. You gave us a little bit of time. I'm very appreciative. I'm very happy for your success. Congratulations on everything you've done up until this point. And this is a great fight. I don't think enough people are talking about it. You versus Marina Rodriguez is going to be an amazing fight. And I really do think that the winner could be in that discussion. It's a little bit tight at the top there with the championship fight next month. And you got Carla Wade. But I think that you're maybe one fight away at that point from getting what you really want. And that's the title fight. So good luck to you. Parabéns. Obrigado. And we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ariel. I think like my last fight, you had put a tweet or something that I was the record with the most first round wins, So thank you so much for always throwing out those data and those news and stuff like that. So thanks so much. It was good talking with you.
No problem. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck to you. There she is, Mackenzie Dern, and it's still 1:15 for the record. For those that said I'm not a man of my word, I am always a man of my word. You tell me you got to squeeze me in on the busy media day that we're not, for whatever reason, privy to, I will make it happen. All we're trying to do is shine a positive light on the great athletes involved in this sport. All we're trying to do is shine a positive light on the sport itself. That's what we're here to do. Big time main event this Saturday. What a great card. What a great day of fighting. I think the prelim started like 1 Eastern, main card 4 Eastern till 7 Eastern. And then you could stick with my old friends at ESPN Plus from start to finish, because then we got Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Numero 3, Part 3, Lineal Heavyweight Championship bout. I'm excited. I'll probably be watching that one from La Belle Province in Montreal. Maybe I'll stop by my old stomping grounds of Champ Sports on Saint Laurent Street, where I watched GSP beat Matt Hughes back at UFC, I believe it was 56. And the place exploded like the Canadians had just won the Stanley Cup. Oh my God. I just forgot something. 1 second. Remember last week, DJ said he was going to hook me up? Demetrius Johnson, man of his word. Oh my God, I was going to kill myself. No, obviously, I'm getting a little crazy here, but I felt bad because he, promised. He said, hey, I'm sending you this. You better put it on the... I said, DJ, my word. Here I am talking about my word. I almost forgot. So that's the unboxing. Shout out to Unbox Therapy. I'm going to just put the box right over here. Look at this thing. This is great. DJ, remember last week on the show? Throw to the clip, Connor. Do you have the clip? No, I'm joking. We don't have the clip. Here's DJ. Look at that. Mighty Mouse. This is a good one. Should I put it here? Can you see it? Yeah, it's right there. Ooh, look at that slot right there. Perfect. Look at that slot. Look at Mighty Mouse just settling in right over there. Thank you to Mighty Mouse and his wife, Destiny, for hooking me up with this. Look at that. I love this. I got my friends all here. I want to give a shout out to this artist. His name is, I think, Mateus. He made these for me. Look at these pieces of art. I've been meaning to shout these out. Habib, Robbie Lawler. What about that clip with Robbie Lawler and Nick Diaz? You good? You good in life? That was powerful stuff. Did you guys see that? I have another one. Bisping. Look at this stuff. This is amazing. And there's a fourth one right here. Look at this. Izzy. Oh, his card is right here. Let me get the name right. Matt, yeah. Oh, Instagram, Matt, MattEssomart. Mattis Omart. I'm pretty sure I'm reading that incorrectly. Mattessum Art. I'm pretty sure art is the word. Anyway, look at this stuff. Thank you very much to him. People send me all kinds of things. Just like DJ sent me this toy, which I love. Just like all these bobbleheads that we have here. In fact, some of these are from our good friends over at Bellator. And in a matter of moments, let everyone know, Scott Coker is going to be joining us, the Bellator president, to break some news. Scott Coker going to be joining us to break some news. A few pieces of news, by the way. And some of them are good, like in terms of stature, big, large pieces of news. You know, there's multiple, dare I say 4, maybe even 5. Now, do I have a bit of a heads up here? Yes, I'm not trying to, be ignorant and pretend like I don't know exactly what's going on. And so I can tell you that I think some of them are pretty juicy. And I can also tell you that some of them we talked about very recently. Of course, Bellator recently had an event on Friday in London, MVP and Douglas Lima 2, hotly contested affair, and it ended in a decision, a split decision, a victory for MVP. So he avenged his loss to Douglas Lima. A somewhat controversial, I don't think it was a robbery like I said on Monday, but it was, most people thought, people I respect, I scored it as well. I thought that Douglas Lima won the fight. Our man GC profited from the questionable decision. And this has brought up a bunch of talk about the rounds. We'll see if that comes into play. They had the event with Yoel Romero recently as well, making his debut. 3-round loss as well. Decision loss. And their next event is Bellator 268, October 16th. And that's the event headlined by Vadim Nemkov, the light heavyweight champion in the tournament. Ryan Bader, Corey Anderson also on the card. Benson Henderson, Brent Primus, Henry Corrales against Vladislav Parubenchenko. And then the following week, they have an event in Russia. Fyodor Emelianenko returning, the last emperor, against Big Tim Johnson. Vitaly Minakov on the card. Usman Nurmagomedov, who I'm very excited about, also on the card. Rustam Khabilov on the card against Andrei Koreshkov. There's a lot to like. There's a lot going on in the world of Bellator. Of course, they recently linked up with the good folks over at Showtime, my good friends over at Showtime, part of the PF Chang's crew. So let us go without further ado to the magic of Zoom and say hello to the one and only, the Bellator president, my old friend, Scott Coker, the birthday boy, who celebrated his, 35th birthday on Sunday, Scott?
Yeah, you know what, plus a couple, maybe 20 plus 20 years, Ariel. But it's been a good time. It's been a great ride, and I love what I'm doing, and I'm just going to keep pounding away, buddy.
Back on Showtime. I haven't talked to you in a while. Does it feel good to be back on the old premium cable network that, of course, you had a lot of success with Strikeforce back in the day?
Yeah, it's really like you're reuniting with the family, basically, because the people that were there back in the Strikeforce days are still here. So you have David Dinkins with production, you have Chris de Blasio, PR, Sheila Mills and marketing, Steve Woon's still there. When we sold Strikeforce to the UFC, Steven was actually I think he just came on board a year or two, in that relationship. So yeah, it's like the same team. No one has changed over there. And then you had our team, and we got a lot of great, talented people here at Bellator, and it's been a lot of fun, putting all these puzzles together.
Yeah, and of course you also have Morrow behind the microphone. I mean, in many respects, it feels like a reunion.
Yeah, it is really. It's the best broadcast team in the business, and I'm really enjoying it and having a great time. And it's nice to to see the guys getting the. All the additional pieces that Showtime's making, the all access pieces that are coming out. We have a lot of great social digital content coming up here next year. And we're excited about 22.
Okay. And by the way, yes, I know that for sure. I don't know if you know, but I was, it's like, say, a distant cousin of the Showtime team. As part of that Jake Paul broadcast with Tyron Woodley. I don't know if you saw me in the ring, ringside.
Oh.
It was.
Let me tell you, I watched the fight. and I think you did an amazing job.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not just saying that because I'm on your show, but you did a great job. And I think you should be doing some of the Bellator fights too.
Oh,
Showtime Boxing, come on now.
Okay, well, for now, it was just a one-off, so I'll put you in touch with my my agents, and we'll see if we can.
Here we go. Here we go. Well, let me hold on my checkbook here real quick.
Okay, I have been told by the best PR team in the business, CJ Tuttle, Danny Brenner. I've been told by them, I'm going to name drop them here because they do a phenomenal job getting the word out about Bellator, that you have come bearing gifts, Scott, that you have multiple, not just one. Sometimes you come on one piece of news, but you're coming on in a very giving mood, and you're going to break multiple pieces of news for us. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's accurate. And a lot of it has been in the works for months and months. But the first piece of news is Cris Cyborg's return.
Okay.
She is going to fight on November 12th at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. And her opponent is going to be Sinead Kavanaugh. So that's going to be her next title defense, and it'll be live on Showtime, and that's going to be on December 12th.
Okay, and so that will be for the Bellator Women's Featherweight title, the return of one of the greatest of all time, Cris Cyborg, who's looked very good since coming over to Bellator, against Sinead Kavanaugh, of course, of Ireland. You have a nice roster, of course, of Irish fighters. You've got James Gallagher and Peter Queally, who we may hear some more about. He's fighting in November as well. That's great to hear that Cris is coming back. By the way, side note, because I'll have a couple side note questions for you here. I think, if all goes well, and is this the first time you're at the Hard Rock in Hollywood?
Yes. Bellator was there, I want to say,
back in the day.
2012, 2011, back in the day before I came on board. But this will be the first time that we've gone to the Hard Rock there. And really what inspired us really to have that conversation was Stephen Espinoza's friend, Keith Shelton, now is an executive there from Barclays, from the boxing program. They did a lot of business together, and they made the relationship. We all linked up, and we thought it was a good fit. And I think you'll be seeing a lot of fights with Bellator at different Hard Rocks, hotel and casinos around the country in 22 and moving forward.
Okay, off the top of my head, and I might be wrong, this is literally off the top of my head. I didn't know where the fight was going to happen. I think one of the greatest fights in Bellator history happened there, and that's Eddie Alvarez, Michael Chandler back in 2011. In fact, coincidentally, I don't want to get this wrong. I'm just going to look it up real quick. Coincidentally, the night that fight happened, we were in the same building. Do you know where we were the night that great Bellator fight happened? The first Michael Chandler Eddie Alvarez fight.
That was in 11?
That was in 11, yes.
And what month was that?
It was November of 2011, November 19th. I've just confirmed the Eddie Alvarez, Michael Chandler one fight happened at Bellator 58 in Hollywood, Florida. So the same location. I was at the SAP Center, formerly known as the HP Pavilion, for UFC 139. I do believe the very first UFC event in San Jose, because of the sale, opened the door months prior, and I think you were in attendance, right?
Yeah, I think it wasn't.
Kung Lee fought, Dan Henderson.
Then he fought Vanderlei Silva.
Yes,
I believe.
Yes,
right, and then I think Dan Henderson fought Shogun.
That's right, one of the greatest fights of all time. Yes,
that was an amazing fight. Yeah, I was definitely there and had a good time with some great fights. And listen, I was rooting for Kung. Didn't work out for him. He ran out of gas a little bit towards the end, but. It was a great fight, great matchup.
Was that a weird one for you to be at a UFC event in your home building?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, anytime I was in their offices or, and they were very respectful, don't get me wrong. And everything Lorenzo said that he was going to do, they did it. But it's just so just surreal to be there and going, this is just a weird experience. Being at the fights is like, it's just a weird experience. But when I look back on it, it's all meant to be and it's all part of the journey. And now it's all about Bellator. That's
right. So that was a great night. So you're going back there. By the way, that's November 12th, correct?
Yeah, November 12th.
November 12th. All right. So that's the first piece. We'll check it off. I got my pencil right here, Scott. Check it off. Cris Cyborg exclusive. By the way, when all you people write the articles about these pieces of news, I want you to say, per Scott Coker on the MMA Hour, okay? So put some respect on our names. That's the first piece of news.
Get that plug in.
Thank you very much. You have to source correctly. So per Scott Coker on the MMA Hour, Chris Cyborg is fighting Sinead Kavanagh, getting a big... She's been talking a lot. She's been hitting me up on Twitter a lot over the past year. She wanted this fight, right? I'm assuming she raised her hand and said, yes, please, when you offered it to her. She didn't run. You didn't have to twist her arm.
No, she came looking for Cyborg, and they've been after us for 6 months, 5 months, and so finally we said, okay, let's do it. Let's get it on. You want her that bad? And before there was a little bit of, we couldn't get certain fighters into the country, or this, the restriction of travel. But now that we got her the proper visas, it just took a long time. But here we are. I mean, this is going to be, I think it's going to be a slugfest, man. This girl's a tough girl. She's going to bring it. She's in a great camp over there in Ireland with SVG. The quality of fighters they have there. It's going to be a great fight.
Okay. And by the way, no Kat Zingano, huh? I thought maybe she would be next.
Yeah. You know what? We're going to have a conversation with Kat, and I think that she will fight the winner of this matchup as early as maybe February of next year, because the Cyborg or Kavanaugh, they want to stay busy. So whoever wins this fight, we're going to turn it around as quick as we can early in 22.
Okay, interesting. And what I was getting at earlier was, I feel like one of the biggest fights you can put on in 22, if all goes well with Cyborg, Chris Cyborg, Kayla Harrison. I feel she's about to become a free agent. She has one fight left. Mm-hmm. I think the world of her. I think she's about to become one of the biggest stars in the sport, the face of women's MMA. She is an absolute beast, top 10 pound for pound. Do you have interest? Can you even say if you have interest with one fight left on her deal?
The thing is, listen, here is what I'll say. Any free agent that's out there that's in the 145-pound weight class, in the female, that is at a certain level or elite level, like she is, listen, we are in the free agent business, and we are interested in any female that's available. They can fight at that level. And I think, let's see what happens, because I do understand she will become a free agent here after this next fight. And, if she is a free agent at that time, we'll have a conversation with her and take it from there. But, we're not trying to, get involved with their business and
sure.
and other companies' businesses. And but listen, if they're a free agent, give us a call. We're open for business.
I hear them often calling, if I'm being honest, I'm not trying to stir the pot, but they're saying they're the number 2. And that feels like shots fired, if you ask me.
What do you think?
Well, I think your roster is deeper than theirs.
Yeah. And listen, I think that, the body of work that we've done over the last, 5-6 years, building this business. I mean, I don't think outside the UFC, there's any other companies that can go, let's say for instance, the London fight that we just did, sell 10,000 tickets, have arguably the biggest game we've ever had in the UK and in Europe, have a great TV deal with the BBC, airing it live. I mean, if you just look at the body of work and the accomplishments that this, company has put together with the staff that we have and Viacom, pushing it over the last 5 years, and add, this is the healthiest and this is the best roster that we've ever had. And we have fighters, I believe, that could beat fighters in the UFC in 35 and 45 and 205, and then there's Gegard. I mean, it's the list goes on and on and on. So to me, it's like I think you know who's number 2. Come on now.
All right,
we all know.
Okay, I like that. Fighting words from Scott Coker. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, what do you got?
The next thing is the 155-pound belt held by Patricio Pitbull. He's going to let it go. And now the main event for the fight in Ireland on November 5th is going to be Quealy versus his brother Patricky. But that will now be a title shot for the winner of that belt. I think it's the first time we've had a title fight in Ireland and for Bellator. And so I think it's going to be a big deal. And I think that these guys deserve it. And I think that, you should ask Patricio, what his thought process on this was, but we were just asking him, what do you want to do next? And this conversation just kind of came into, his thoughts. And then I said, okay, well then we'll fulfill your wishes. And here we are. So now we have a great main event, and the Gallagher mix will be the semi-main event. So we have a great 1-2 punch in Ireland. And that's going to be on November 5th. And it's also going to be live on Showtime.
I love it. And by the way, kudos to you guys. Last Friday, you were in London, but you were live. And so we were able to watch the MVP Lima fight exactly when it happened, which is the way all fights should be in 2021. So that's huge. So to recap, Patricio Pitbull, who at one point not that long ago was the double champ, 145 and 155. Unfortunately, he slips against AJ McKee back in July. What a great scene that was in Inglewood. Also still had the belt. He is saying, I'm giving it up. I want my brother to fight for the belt. So now Patricio Pitbull versus Peter Queally, another Irish fighter who's doing big things there and is getting an opportunity to fight in Dublin, is now going to be for the vacant 155-pound title on November 5th.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
And you know what, Scott? We make things. I don't know if you know this. We've been off for a few years. We're the number one show in MMA. We always have been the number one show in MMA. We just needed to give some people some time to catch up. So without further ado, you just mentioned Patricio Pitbull, one of the best fighters on the planet. Let's bring in Mr. Patricio Pitbull, who's joining us right now from Brazil to explain why he's made this decision. Patricio, my friend, obrigado for the time. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. How about you?
I'm doing great. So Scott Coker, the boss, just announced you are vacating the 155-pound title, and as a result, your brother, Patricio Pitbull, is going to fight Peter Queally on November 5th in a rematch to see who's the new champion. Why did you decide to give up the title?
First thing is, I lost in the featherweight division, and for me, it don't make sense to be a champion in the lightweight division. If I lost in 145 pounds, I can't be the champion in the 155. So, in the other side, I have my brother as a number one contender, and if he keeps winning, he's gonna fight for the belt, and I'm not gonna fight my brother. That's it.
Wow.
My focus is in a rematch.
Okay, you cut up there for a second. It sounded like you said your focus is the AJ McKee rematch. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so it's a great thing that we have the boss man here, Scott Coker. I feel like that's the fight to make. Now, I was pushing for AJ versus Patricio for the 155 title because I thought that would be cool to see AJ go up to see if he could get that belt, but the belt is no longer Patricio's. Do you have interest in AJ versus Patricio 2 for the featherweight title, a rematch of the fight that happened in July?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. This is a fight that, we've been talking to both camps about. And, it's not put together by any means, but I think it's headed in the right direction there.
Okay, so it seems like as of right now, we're moving in the direction of Patricio Pitbull versus AJ McKee 2. That will be the next fight for both men.
That's the direction it's heading. Now, it's not, this is something that we have to talk to Antonio,
sure,
sit down with AJ and flesh it out. There's a lot of details to be worked out, but, this is something that Pitbull would like to have happen. And, he's been such a great champion, great ambassador, a great fighter for the company. And I feel like we should try to make this happen as best as we can. But sometimes, in the fight business, as you know, it doesn't always work out, but we're going to try our best. And like I said, I think it's definitely heading in the right direction.
What do you think about this, Patricio? Do you think the fight is going to happen? Do you have a message perhaps to AJ McKee as to, make this fight happen, get the ball rolling, put a little pressure on him? What do you think? What do you think, Patricio? What do you want to say to AJ?
I think you are talking with Scott. I'm ready to go. I already training. I feel good. I think that fight was stopped early.
Oh.
I feel I'm there, but I understand everything that happened. I just want my chance to fight him again and prove I am the best featherweight in the world.
Yeah. By the way, Patricio, are you outside? What's going on over there? It sounds like a very windy day in Brazil. What's happening?
Sorry, it's the ventilator.
Oh, the ventilator. Okay, because it was just very loud. I know you live in a beautiful place in Brazil. I thought Mateus was out there surfing. What was that? So you think it was stopped early? Interesting. Can I ask you, Patricio? Did you fight too emotionally? Did it get too personal between you two? Did maybe that lead to the bad fight, the early stoppage?
Você acha que você lutou muito emocional?
No.
E isso afetou?
No, I am very calm. I was very calm. I was only thinking about the strategy and trying to do the correct movements during the fight, but he was good. He kicked me very well in that moment, but he was calling the judge to stop the fight.
Oh.
And I didn't agree with that. He was trying to stop the fight. I don't know. I'm feeling this.
Okay. This is good stuff. I have an idea. I'll throw it out there for you, Scott. We're in a giving mood. What do you think about this, Patricio? AJ McKee versus Patricio Pitbull, number 2. Last time you defended the title on his home turf in California. This time the rematch, we do it in Brazil. What do you think about that? Let's go. Bellator in Brazil.
All Brazilians.
You know what?
Brazilians think about that.
Let's go, Scott. What do you say?
Well, here's the thing. We are. I believe this. If COVID didn't hit, we would already be in Brazil promoting fights today, and that was definitely part of the game plan. So the conversations now have picked up with let's say Vicom Latin America and with different, let's say, entities in Brazil. We're setting up an infrastructure for sure to go there. But is it going to happen in the next 4 months? I'm not sure. But listen, if we do go to Brazil, Ariel, the only caveat is that you have to come with us.
Oh, stop it, Scott. I mean, what are you talking about?
Oh, come on.
All right, so we're looking at this to be in the next 4 or so months, if all goes well. By the way, what's the status of AJ McKee? Because he was talking about he wanted the love, he wanted the new deal. Are we going to keep him around?
Mm-hmm. Listen, AJ is our champ, and we expect to have a long-term relationship with him. And these things have a way of working themselves out. A lot of different people involved, a lot of personalities involved, a lot of different agencies involved, and we're just trying to figure out sometimes who do we talk to. So we'll figure it out.
Okay.
This is not something new. I mean,
Sure.
This is something that how many fighters have we had a situation where it comes to this situation where okay, you want to make some changes. Okay, we're open to talk about it, but it has to make business sense for everybody, and it's got to work for all parties involved.
If you need me to bridge the gap, make a few phone calls, I've been known to get deals done, Scott. Just want to let you know.
You know what? I've heard. I have heard. Power broker.
Yes.
Power broker.
Patricio, I'm trying to make it happen for you here. There was a time you thought I didn't like you. I'm trying to make the fight happen in Brazil for you, my friend. I just want to let you know.
Appreciate that, and I feel I have history in Bellator, and I deserve that rematch immediately. So
right away,
Scott, put this fight to happen. I'm ready.
Yeah, we're gonna work on it. We're working on it.
Okay, Patricio, any final word you want to say to AJ? He's listening right now. You want to say something to him?
AJ, next time, please don't call the judge. Let me sleep alone. Don't call the judge. I was there. I didn't tap and I didn't sleep. Let's fight again, and I will prove you I am the best.
I love it. Obrigado, Patricio. Thank you so much, and kudos to you, and good luck to your brother on November 5th. Your brother, will you be there with him in Ireland?
Yeah, I will be there. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much, Scott. Stick around, but thank you very much to Patricio for stopping by. He's the man, one of the best fighters still in the game. And hey, shout out to the team for getting us this nice little 2-box here. Yoon and Alex and Joe and Connor, everyone making this happen. Of course, Mysterious Frank always wants to get credit, so I have to give him credit as well. He's a big part of the team. This is a very nice little setup that we have here. Scott, you're still with us?
I'm here.
This is fun, Scott. All right, so that's big news. We had the champ, or the former champ, I should say. Well, it was weird because, technically, as of right now, is the title vacated, or does it get vacated on the day the fight happens between Queally and his brother?
No, it's vacated as of right now. It's vacated.
Okay.
There's no lightweight champion, and the winner of that fight will be the new champ.
All right. What else we got?
We got this is something that a lot of fans or MMA fans might feel like this is something that happened in the last 2-3 months because of the way the chips fell on some of these fights. But really, we've been talking about this for the last 6-8 months, and we decided that on January 1st, 2022, that all the main event fights will be 5 rounds.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's not going to be like for the Fedor fight or any fight that happens between now and December 31st. But on January 1 moving forward, all fights are going to be are going to be 5-rounders.
All main event fights, all main event non-title
main event
fights will be 5-rounders.
That's correct.
And ultimately, why are you doing this?
I'll tell you, when I talk about we, I'm talking about me and Mike and Rich and, and Jane and the team. And like, we were discussing, man, I sure would have liked to see another couple rounds of that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And this is earlier, throughout the year. And then when the fight happened with Yoel Romero, I said, oh man, I sure would have liked to see 2 more rounds of that fight. And then with MVP, same thing. I said, okay, guys, we're going to pull the trigger. So, we're making an official announcement that starting January 1st is going to happen. But it's been in the works internally for a while. But it's just time. And I think the people really want it. The fans want it. I think the fighters want it. And our company wants it. So that's where we're going.
This is great. Long overdue. I felt the same way, especially on Friday. Man, I want to see 2 more rounds. It felt unfulfilling. I have to be honest, when this first started with the UFC, I think actually, by the way, how crazy is this? This just came to my mind, Scott. I think the first ever 5-round non-title fight main event was actually Hendo Shogun at the SAP Center in 2011. I mean, are you kidding me? I actually think that was the first one ever. How crazy is this? It's all coming together for us.
That is crazy.
I didn't love it because I felt like it was special that the title fights were 5 rounds. But now, after a decade of watching it, and especially you have these main events, it's like, it feels unfulfilled. It feels sort of undecided, right? So this is great. Now, let me ask you, why not start it immediately? Is it because these other fights were signed for 3-round fights, so you can't pull the trigger right now?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, we have contracts in place with Fader and Johnson, and like we have contracts for pretty much throughout the whole year. And then the fight in November, both of them are title fights now, so that doesn't matter. And then the fight in December will probably be a title fight as well. So it's really not going to impact this year. So we just said, hey, January 1, we'll start a clean slate, and then this is what we'll do moving forward. Okay,
this is wonderful. Very big news. I'm assuming you're not going to get any pushback from any of the fighters, right? I'm assuming that the majority of them who are fighting in main event fights are going to be on board with this.
Yeah, they're going to be on board. They actually want it. I think that they're going to be happy to have it. I think this gives them more time to go do and perform their craft. Mm-hmm. And I've heard the different arguments about the wear and tear on the athletes and this sort of thing. But to me, it just makes a lot of sense. If you're a main event fighter, fighting on a show like Bellator on a network like Showtime, you should be able to go 5 rounds.
Yeah.
And the only reason why we didn't do it earlier was just the timing and middle of the year, and we just said, look, let's just hold it. And now that we're rolling into the 4th quarter, it's just time, and I think everybody's ready, and we're going to embrace it, and it's going to be the rule moving forward.
I love it. And just for the sake of accuracy, I think the event before Lieben Munoz 138 was the first one. It doesn't matter, but you get the point. It was around that time. All right, so this is great. Do we have anything else? I mean, I feel like I'm being a little greedy here, but is there anything else?
Well, you know what? I'll tell you, I did read your newsletter the other day.
Oh,
I was looking at the news. Oh, here we go.
Oh, yes. I believe actually I believe in that newsletter. Thank you for that, Scott. Thank you for the subscription. I believe I actually mentioned that I think all the fights should go 5 rounds. Did you see that?
You did.
Yes.
You did. And the other thing you mentioned was that, the co-promotions
with
I
was going to ask you about that.
Organizations. And so, Sakibara was here about three weeks ago when we sat down. He was here for 5 days, actually. And we had a good chat, good talk. And, there's obviously some restrictions with what's going on. But, we talked about a lot of different scenarios. And, I think next year you'll probably see 2 or 3 different opportunities where we're going to send fighters back and forth. As you know, we have Horiguchi now under contract. And he will definitely, I believe, be one of the athletes that are involved in these back and forth challenges. But we're just waiting for this, this thing called COVID to just, calm down a little bit again. Because back in June, Errol, I thought it was wide open. I thought, everybody's open for business, and we started making all these plans, all these international fights. I started talking to Sakibara. We were planning to do something together, as early as maybe the 31st on his event where we would send some fighters. But now that the COVID is back and Japan's is kind of on lockdown, Hawaii's on lockdown. There's still a lot of places where we can't go or we can't do business. So as we're figuring that out, but I promise you, we will have some great co-promotions with Ryzen at some point with the fighters going like I said, back and forth. And you will see a Bellator in Japan event in 2022 at some point.
I love it. And for some context, it was just, back in the day, it was easy to differentiate yourself from the other promotions with women's MMA. Now everyone has women on the roster. So I think the one thing that the UFC isn't doing that you have been open to doing in the past is co-promotion. And I feel like an event where it's like one versus Bellator and it's billed that way, not just a couple of guys sprinkled here and there, like an actual, clash of worlds, so to speak, worlds colliding. I think the fans get behind that because then they get behind the brand. They get behind, they keep tabs on who's winning, who's up by the end of the night. Oh, Bellator won 4, these guys won 3. It's fun to get behind the brand like that. So, it's all coming out of love. Yeah. You know that, right?
No, I agree. And listen, I have never, when we did Strikeforce, we did fights with Pride.
Yeah.
We sent Gilbert Melendez over there. They sent Kawajiri here. They sent Aoki here. I mean, we've done, plenty of co-promotions in the past. And sometimes it doesn't work with all the companies because they have, so they have different network maybe, or it might be a different distribution deal. Who owns the intellectual property rights? Who's going to have, there's a lot of business components that you have to work out. And so, with Sakibara, it's been such a relationship for 20 years that we've been doing this back and forth. It's been an easy, easy time to figure out all the business details. But I tell you what would be amazing is at some point if there was a World Cup of MMA, right, and everybody threw in the best that they could throw, including the UFC, and let's get it on. I mean, to me, that would be the as a martial artist, I feel like that would be amazing, wouldn't it? That would be something that we would fully support. Yeah, but everybody has to participate. You can't have one company, holding the ball and going in the corner. We need everybody to participate in something like that. And I think that would just do amazing business. I think it'd be, but then again, who would own the world? Who would run the IP? Who would own this? Who would own that?
You guys could figure it out. We've got PBC and Matchroom and Top Rank and Queensberry. They're all working together.
Listen, I agree. We could work it out, but it has to be everybody come to the table.
Sure.
That's really what it is, so, but,
and you don't think realistically
that's something
they're not going to do it, right?
I don't think they will. The business model has always shown that they're really not supportive of that type of co-promotion, but, maybe things could change in the future. It's who knows, but, I think that that would be something that would really, really be a lot of fun to promote. And then you see who really the world's best is. Because, look, I could say, hey, our 135-pound weight class is stacked. You could beat anybody in the world. We have 205. We got Gegard. We have all these great fighters. It's like we could say the same thing. We can make a lot of claims, and they're making a lot of claims. Everybody's can make a lot of claims, but until they fight each other, you don't really know, right? So, to me, if they want to get it on, then everybody participates. We would definitely get behind something like that.
And I'm old enough to remember when they sent Chuck Liddell to Pride to fight over there. So there is a precedent. Now the times were different, but they were open. I remember Dana White at the broadcast booth. Remember that? Those were some crazy times back then. It would be a great thing to see if you guys all work together. By the way, just curious. It felt like a few years ago, I also mentioned this, like free agency was more of a thing. More guys were willing to test the market. And Bellator profited from that. Others did as well. Why do you feel like less fighters are doing that? It feels like less fighters are willing to fight out the deals and see what's out there. Why do you think that is?
I'll tell you, it's something that's always come in cycles, Errol. It hasn't been, like the science where every so many months. So, it's really been like cycles. And honestly, there have been some free agents and, maybe we're not interested in, they're not a good fit for us, or maybe they're a good fit for another organization. But listen, there's when you talk about stars of the sport, right? They come up once in a, let's say once every year or once every 2 years. And that's what you're talking about is, having stars that jump across different companies. But I don't think they've ever been, an abundance of those stars shopping free agency. But I do believe that, once every year, once every 18 months, certain stars will pop up and we're going to be in the bidding for them, as well as a lot of other companies. But I do believe that it comes in cycles, and to me, it's kind of feels normal. Like this is not something that happens every month.
Okay. Can I hit you with a couple more and then we'll let you go?
Sure.
Okay. Sure. Curious, some scary news regarding Rumble Johnson. It seems like he's not feeling well. Is there anything you could tell us about his health status?
I'll tell you, what I can tell you, what I know is that he's just not, healthy. He's not healthy enough to fight, obviously, but he's trying to get healthy, just as a human being. This has nothing to do with fighting. And I think he's had some real scares in some of his health, and they're trying to figure it out. I think that's one of the things that's very concerning, is that the doctors just don't know. And I know we've been in touch with him. Our team's been in touch with him, and it's just something that, when you don't know the diagnosis and you're not feeling well, and your body isn't acting right or not functioning right, it's going to be a scary situation. So to me, this has nothing to do with fighting. This really has to do with just him healing up and, having a normal life at some point. And if he's well enough to fight again, then yeah, that's great. But I mean, I look at this as more of, this is a step, like you got to take that first step of just being healthy first. And so that's where it's at. That's how I look at it from our company perspective.
Okay. And we certainly wish him the best. You mentioned the 135-pound division. There were some rumors of a tournament. Sergio Pettis, new champ. What are we thinking about 135?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the divisions that we're stacked in. And, we haven't decided really what the tournament will be moving forward in 2022. But that's definitely one of the candidates for the weight class, because there's so many great fighters. I mean, it's going to be fun. I think we might even go back to a 16-man tournament if we do 35s, because there's so much talent on in that division that we'd have to probably expand it, because I don't think we could pick 8 people and feel good about it, or have number 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's so much talent there that we might have to do a 16-man tournament if we choose that weight class. But it hasn't been decided, and you'll be the first to know, Errol.
Oh wow, we could do this every month. You come on, few scoops. Good for me, good for you. I don't mind. If you want to set this right now as a thing every first Wednesday of the month, I think it would be a nice little tradition.
Yeah, let's do it. Listen, I'm so proud of all your hard work and all your effort, your contribution to mixed martial arts.
Oh, thank you.
And I know you. I remember from back, way back when we used to talk in New York City, and we were announcing. I remember you were the first one I told we had the Strikeforce heavyweight tournament too, right?
Yeah.
And so you've done great things, man. I'm happy for you. Just keep going, and you're making a difference. And I just wanted to tell you, from myself and all of our staff, we love working with you, and just keep doing what you're doing, man. And don't let the haters hate, and
That's right.
Keep it down. Just keep it going.
That's
Keep
right.
it real.
Scott, next event, you got to show up wearing a Helwani shirt. It's a lifestyle, Scott. It's a mindset. It's not a gimmick, okay? 10-7 Helwani. You can wear that as well. Last question for you, and I appreciate those words very much. It's the most important one. Everyone's hitting me up about this. They need an update on this particular fighter, perhaps the most popular fighter on your roster right now. He's coming off a huge win. Everyone buzzing about him. Of course, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the legend, the future legend, the inimitable Big Tuna, Ben Parrish. Everyone talking about Big Tuna. What do we got with Big Tuna? Are we going to see him again soon?
Man, I tell you, you should have been here in this building. It erupted. It was louder. It was louder than Hendo versus Shogun, right in here. I'm telling you, it was. And the thing is, like, here comes this guy. He's built the way he's built, and people aren't expecting that he's got this big punch. But man, he proved himself that night, and the fans here in San Jose love him. They're ready. All my friends, all the people that came to the fight here, they're like, "Hey, when's he coming back?" So, he told us at the fight, "Well, I can't come back this year because I don't have any more time off."
What? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That is incredible. Come on.
Yeah, I know. That's what he said. But listen, we're definitely in talks with him, but we're going to try to get him back as soon as possible, because he was a lot of fun. He's a lot of talent. He's got a big punch, and he's got a little personality on him, man. I dig it. So we're gonna push to get him back here in the next couple of months.
Are you gonna get the Paul brothers involved? Logan, maybe wrestler.
Yeah, listen, that conversation started 2-3 years ago in Miami at the Super Bowl, and we met with Logan and his management, and we said, they want to do into boxing, and I said, look, if you ever want to do MMA, please give us a call. And we had a nice conversation. I thought he was a great kid, and obviously they're hard workers, as you can know. They're grinding out there at their camps. They're doing what they do. Both the brothers, they're talented. They're getting better. Errol, I'm telling you. I said it from the beginning. These guys are getting better and better and better. Don't underestimate these kids' fighting ability, because they're putting in the work. right? And so, but my view of the whole thing is like, if they would want to come to MMA, we'd love to have them in Bellator, and we'd love to have them, because I always felt like, look, you're putting, let's say, Ben, and I know he's mad at me because my prediction, whatever, but it's like you guys kind of know. To me, it's like, I feel like, okay, I get it. I see the writing on the wall here. T-Wood was a real fight, and I think it was a close fight. I think that it just showed that Jake's getting better and better to fight a guy like T-Wood, even if it's in boxing. But how much sparring and training and fighting has T-Wood done over the last 10 years? And a lot of people thought T-Wood was just going to take it to him, but it didn't work out. So as these kids are getting better, my hope is that they can come to MMA and really try their craft and their skill set in mixed martial arts, because they do have a wrestling background, and these guys are athletic, they're young, and they put in the work. And I think that there'll be a lot of fun to watch them develop, because and not just because of their social following, because that's going to come with the business piece and all that. But I'm talking about how they would develop over a year or two fighting in MMA. It'd be a lot of fun to watch.
It would be great.
We'll see. I'm sure they have a lot of opportunities. So we'll see what happens.
Well, Scott, I notice you swiping up a lot. It's probably all those media members trying to get more scoops, trying to leech onto our news here.
They're saying, why do you give everything to Ariel? They always say, why do you give everything to Ariel?
You're a smart guy. You come to the best. You get the word out. Everyone's buzzing. 3 pieces of news. Chris Cyborg's next fight against Sinead Kavanagh, of course.
The singer?
Yes. That would be crazy. Sinead Kavanagh on November 12th. Patricio Pitbull versus one Peter Queally is now for the vacant title after Patricio Pitbull vacated the title. So that's 2 pieces of news right there. So now we're at 3. And then, of course, the biggest one of the bunch, in my opinion, all Bellator non-title main events as of January 1st will be 5 rounds. And the people have been asking for this. You have delivered. Scott, thank you so much. Appreciate you doing this. I'll talk to you in a month for the next set of breaking news that you'll have for us, okay?
I'll be ready. I'll have it in my back pocket, in my bag, and be ready to bring them all out for you, Ariel.
All right. All the best, Scott, and good luck next week, another event. And then you're, of course, going to Russia for the Fyodor event. Looking forward to that. Take care.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. There he is, Bellator President Scott Coker. Great stuff there, right? I mean, I told you. Did I oversell it? Did I oversell it or not? Did I say he was going to come bearing gifts? Remember, we're not trying to puff our chest here. We're not trying to say, we're just trying to remind people that the boys are back in town. And each and every show, we're getting a little bit stronger, a little bit healthier, a little bit, I don't know what you want to call that. The chutzpah is there. So you want to come break news? You want to let people know what's on your mind? Come to the show of record. Come to the MMA Hour. We don't need 17 guests here. We just need a few. And of course, I can sit back here and weigh in on all these things and let you know what I think about all these things. I could sit back on my throne and opine correctly on all these things, unlike others who opine incorrectly. But I'd rather talk to the newsmakers. I'd rather have the newsmakers come on here and let you know what's what. And then afterwards, we can opine. And so thank you very much to one Scott Coker for all those nuggets. The news, by the way, that the MMA fighting team is most excited about is the Big Tuna update. I mean, for some reason, they just love that guy. He has become somewhat of a cult favorite on the squad. And so there you go. There's your update. And I'm looking forward to his return very much. I am also looking forward to talking to our next guest. My sister just gave birth. I told you this on Monday. My dear sister, Amanda, congratulations to her again. She gave birth. And, she supports my career. She's a great sister. We have a great relationship. But, of course, she's not a big fight fan. She doesn't watch everything, But she's very supportive, as I try to be to her as well. A couple months ago, I shared the news that I was going to be working on the Jake Paul Tyron Woodley broadcast on Showtime. And I think I shared a poster or something that was on there. And one of the faces on the poster was of Tommy Fury, TNT Fury. And right away, I got a phone call from my sister, Amanda. She said, "You have a picture of Tommy Fury on your feed. Do you realize that I love Tommy Fury? Do you realize that I watched every episode of Love Island twice on Netflix? And I love Tommy Fury and Molly. I've never got a phone call like this." She was so excited. Most she's ever been about my entire career. It was great. And I said, "No, I didn't realize that, but I'm happy you're excited. And I'll send your best to Tommy." I don't know if I did so when I saw him in Cleveland. Of course, he was there to fight Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor. He won that fight, and now we're all wondering what is next for Tommy Fury. We spoke to his brother on Monday, Tyson Fury, and so it seems like an apropos time to say hello for the first time on this program to Tommy TNT Fury. There he is, in the flesh. Hello, Tommy. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. My sister's very excited about this. She's currently nursing her newborn, but this is the highlight of her day that I'm talking to you on the program.
Congratulations to her, and may God bless them both and the newborn baby, and best luck to all of you.
Thank you so much, Tommy. That's very kind of you. So you're in Las Vegas right now, right, to support your brother?
Yes, I've been here since Thursday, so I've been here for a bit of time now, just did nicely, and it's close. It's time to get that job done.
So, of course, I'd like to ask you about that fight, but we're here to talk about you specifically in your career. You had the fight in Cleveland, the victory over Anthony Taylor. I remember asking you in the ring how you felt about the performance. Here we are, a month and a half or so later. How do you feel about that fight and the performance? You know, there was a lot of talk that he was so much smaller than you, that you should have steamrolled through him. Overall, were you happy? Were you proud of what you did out there in Cleveland in August?
I mean, the end goal for any fighter is to come out of a fight with a win, and I did that. I went across first time in America without my trainer, and I got the win. When it was a shutout, won by unanimous decision. But sometimes you face styles in life that prevent quite tricky. And Anthony Taylor was very small. I'd never faced a guy that small before. He didn't really come to fight. He didn't really want to engage. So it was kind of hard to get him out of there. But with all that being said, a fight's a fight and a win's a win, and I come away with that. So, it was my US debut, and I'm very proud of it, yeah.
Did you feel, perhaps in hindsight, like you fought emotionally? Because he tried to make it personal with you, right? Did it ever get to you? I know you said all the right things leading up to it, but did it get to you at any point?
No, honestly, at no point, because in this whole fight game, people think because I'm young and I've not had that many fights and this and that they can try and get in my head and all that sort of stuff. But they're forgetting that I've been around this game my whole entire life, and I've seen Tyson go through all these mind games with the best in the business. Vladimir Klitschko's of the game. I've seen all that happen before, so there's not a chance any fighter can ever get inside my head. When I got in that ring with him, it was never emotional. I just wanted to try and, get the highlight knockout a bit too much, I think maybe. But again, it's all experience and all learning. I'll go back to the drawing board, and next time I'll take my time and take it slow and get the job done right.
There was some news prior to the fight. I didn't have a chance to ask you, but I'm just curious. What was your take on them shortening the fight? It went, it went down to 6 rounds, I believe, prior to the weigh-ins. And what I was told from your promoter, Frank Warren, was that this was a decision by the British commission, who said that you don't have the experience, and that's obviously understandable. But to me, it was strange that the British commission would weigh in on something that's happening in Ohio. What was your take on that?
Honestly, I have no take on that, because my job is just to train and fight and win. Whatever happens behind the scenes with the British Board of Boxing Control and any other board, it's out of my hands. It's not my call. I don't get involved in all that stuff. I leave that stuff up to my promoters, my managers, and obviously my trainer. So I kind of shut my way from the whole decision. When I heard it was 4 rounds, I thought, okay, I would have loved to have done 6, because if it had been a 6th round, it'd have been knocked out. But, it is what it is. I can safely say that from this point on, hopefully I'm not doing any more 4-rounders. Hope I can stay at the 6s and the 8s and whatever like that. Because I feel like a 4-round fight is very short, and you can't really, take your time and get your proper shots off.
And thank you for the correction. I guess the word was originally 8, then it went to 6, and then eventually it went to 4. So that's what it was. And I think more people wanted to see you go longer, and that's where, all the hysteria came from. Right after the fight was over, the card was over, Jake Paul beats Tyron Woodley. There's that moment that was caught by my friends at BT Sport of you guys in the hallway. What happened there?
I was just simply doing an interview with BT Sport, and he comes walking up the corridor with about 400 men behind him. And I don't really pay any attention. As you see now in the video, I stood there, I looked at him, and he came right up in my face. I didn't flinch, and I just said to him, you need to stop running and take the fight. And hopefully this fight is, close to getting made now. But we'll see. We'll see on that. I'm ready. Like I've said all along, this fight, anybody who knows me and see me training in the gym and see my performances on other fights knows that I'm way too much for Jake Paul. This is a mismatch. So, whether he really wants that fight, I don't know. I know he's offered some money about it. I know he's done this and done that, but the offers that he was putting in was terrible. Thankfully I've got a great team behind me and some great lawyers. And that's it. I want to get this fight on because it's been brewing for a long time. And I'm not one for talking. I'm in the ring and I'm doing it. But I know I can splatter Jake Paul all over that ring because what is he? He's a YouTuber and he's gone into boxing. He's a man with a pair of boxing gloves. He ain't got no talent. What has he got? We've seen that in the Tyrone Woodley fight. He was doing 8 rounds. Woodley never threw a punch and he got gassed out and he was looking at the clock every round. So what's he going to do with me who's going to be pressing him every second of every single minute in that fight? He's going to crumble and that'll be the end of him.
Okay, I love this. Now, I was just about to ask you about the fight itself. What did you think of his performance? It sounds like you weren't all that impressed.
I thought it was absolutely shocking. Listen, my performance wasn't the best, was it? But his performance was absolutely shocking. Absolutely diabolical.
Why?
He got hit with one shot. Nearly fell through the ropes. His footwork is awful. He doesn't move his head at all. He's what he is, isn't he? It looked a bit fishy from my eyes, to be fair, because once Woodley hit me that right hand, he stood off him. The fella was through the ropes. Now, if that had been on the other foot, I'd have been all over him, smashing him with 10, 12 punches all about the head. But I don't know. Listen, it's what it is, isn't it? He's a novice as much as myself, but he's more of a novice than me, put it that way.
That sequence where it seemed like Woodley rocked him, he was, I guess, accused isn't the right word, but it looked like he was holding on to the ropes. Do you feel like that should have been a proper knockdown?
I don't know. I mean, and a knockdown's a knockdown. They've got to touch the floor, haven't they, in my opinion. But, Woodley should have pressed more. If Woodley would have pressed that fight, kept on pushing, he would have got Paul out of there. If he would have worked the body and stuff like that, he would have got Paul out of there because Paul has never done 8 rounds. He's never been in a fight before, so he wouldn't know what it's like. And Woodley would have got on top of him because he's got that experience in the fight game, but he never did it. So it's his own mistake, isn't it?
When you were watching that, I'm assuming in the back, was it a weird thing? Were you actually rooting for Paul because you want to be the first guy to beat him, right? I mean, as much as you may not like him, the fight to make afterwards, so as you and him. So I'm assuming you were kind of rooting for him to keep fighting and to win the fight, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I want him to win the fight, of course. Even though we are towards each other, I still want him to win the fight because I want the fight for me and him to pull off because, all these other people, all these MMA guys he keeps fighting, let's not lie, he's probably going to keep beating them because they're MMA fellas, and that's the reason he's gone down that route. But if he steps up and fights a real boxer, which he should do, which hopefully will come off, it's over for him. It's completely over. There's no chance in hell that man comes out with a victory against me. There's no chance.
Any worry that now that Tyron Woodley got the tattoo that, maybe he'll go back and fight him?
Definitely not. I mean, if he's a smart man, which he claims he is, he wouldn't go back and take the rematch because I watched it in the back and I was falling to sleep. It was probably one of the worst fights I've ever watched. Neither men really threw a punch. There was no exciting drama moments. There was nothing. I was sat there with my promoter, Frank Warren, in the back. I was watching it. And I said to Frank, my God, I don't know how you're looking at this after doing boxing for 50 years, back when men were real men. And we both started laughing because it is what it is, isn't it?
This is amazing stuff. Now, you guys have gone back and forth as of late. In fact, Jake Paul recently put out a message to you. For those that may have missed it, I just want to play a clip of it and get your response to it, okay? All right, here we go. Here's Jake Paul talking about Tommy Fury.
This is the last time I'm speaking about this guy if we don't end up fighting, because I'm starting to get pissed off. Tommy Fury's about to fumble the biggest bag of his life. Tommy, I made you famous. I gave you the biggest payday of your life. You came to the U.S., got your U.S. debut for your dream to come true. I gave you a chance to shine in front of the whole entire world, and now I'm offering to quadruple the biggest payday of your life that I gave you to fight me. For everyone at home, this is what happens when you give someone clout, when you give them an ego. They start to think they're better than they actually are. I have dozens of other fighters calling me out every single week, Tommy. You're replaceable.
I saw you laughing while that clip was playing. That's Jake Paul, of course, on his Instagram. I think he posted that. What do you make of that message from Jake Paul?
it sums him up, to be fair, doesn't it? It's complete bullshit. I mean, the man talking about he made me famous, this and that, that's obviously, everyone knows that's, it's kidology. That's all it is. I can't even talk about that because it's just that much silliness. And the reason why everything's bullshit in what he's saying is because I'm not replaceable. And the fact that I'm not replaceable is that everyone's sick of seeing him fight these same fighters. UFC this, UFC that, good record, old men. He can't, there's no one else out there, with a brother like mine, the best fighter in the whole entire world, WBC lineal world heavyweight champion, and me below, in the same category as Jake Paul, with the clout I've got. Name me one other boxer who's had 7 professional fights and got the recognition that I have. Fair point. It might be from another thing, but still, the recognition is there. There's nobody else, and that's the reason why this fight's still getting talked about and negotiated, because he knows how big this fight is. And if he went off and fought another UFC man, people would stop losing interest, and he knows that. So all what he's saying there is stupid. It's absolutely stupid. I don't buy into anything that Jake Paul says, because I know when we get in that ring, I'm going to let my fist do the talking. I know it's cliche for a boxer to say, but there'll be no game plan for that fight. I'll go straight over to him and I will annihilate Jake Paul. He's tailor-made for me. He don't move his head. He's useless anyway. I'd let Jake Paul hit me for fun. He's no good. So I'm sick of people comparing the fight between me and him. There is no fight. I go in there and it's a shutout victory for me, and that's it.
Okay, so as of right this moment, October 6th, midday, where does the fight stand? Where do things stand between you guys? Because this was about a week ago, and he even posted something about like, oh, he's going to take some time. He's retired now because no one wants to fight him. Where does the actual fight stand from your perspective as of today, October 6th?
I've been over here since Thursday, about a week now, and I've not had a chance to speak to my lawyers. But last time I did speak to them, it was looking good, and that's all I've really got to say about it. That I leave everything like that up to my lawyers and my team. And I only get the call when everything's done and everything's, whatever it is. But as far as I know, it's still getting negotiated, so it's not completely dead. So we'll see where we go from this.
Are you confident it gets made?
I'm fairly confident, yeah, if the man wants to fight. Because with Jake Paul, he's the type of person that would agree to fight. He'll agree to all this and pull out next minute. Because he's got other avenues. He's not a boxer. I don't really believe he's got a passion for this. I think he's doing it for a gimmick, a bit more money than he's already got. So you can't really say you're fighting Jake Paul until you're in the ring with him. But listen, the thing about me is I've got my own career. I've got my ambitions of being a world champion. I'm not in this to make a few quid and, have a few fights with the YouTubers. I'm not about that. As you've seen from the start of my career, I fight professional boxers, be it what they are, the professional boxers, and I'm learning my trade properly. I'm going to go a long way in this game, and Jake Paul's going to be out of here in a year, if that, 2 years. So it's completely different scales. Whether this fight happens or not, I ain't done people saying, Jake Paul, I've said, I fumbled the biggest bag of my life. I've got a career in this. So he needs to select his words very carefully, doesn't he? Because the man's speaking like an idiot.
How far apart? Could you tell us how far apart you guys are right now?
Honestly, I wouldn't know. If I knew, I'd tell you. But I've been over here. I've been concentrating on Tyson. The whole thing's been about Tyson over here. I don't really want to deal with all that since being over here. So I'll just put strict instruction and said, listen, you deal with it. That's what you get paid for. And let me know when you hear something worth telling me.
Would it be, so he has come out and said $1 million. Would it be fair that would be would that be the biggest payday of your career?
It would be the biggest, but it's definitely not quadruple. Definitely not.
Okay.
See, I think Jake Paul seems to think that I've had 7 fights and I'm fighting for small money.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not the case. I've got 4 million followers. My purses for my fights are very good. No matter what the internet says, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Honestly, I've seen some there, saying that I got 10 grand for the last fight. I can sit in bed and do that with a camera and post it on Instagram. So I'm not going to get my head punched in for that, am I? So at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's all bullshit. It's all hearsay. The public, they don't really know what's going on. They can only go off what people are saying. And Jake Paul at the minute is the one spouting all the bullshit. I'm keeping quiet until the job's done. Until this fight is signed, sealed, and delivered, you're going to see Tommy Fury then.
Okay, and just curious, there was something that came out, and you might say it's BS as well, where it was like, oh, these are the purses for the Cleveland fight, and it said that he donated a certain amount, but you declined. I think it was you and Daniel Dubois who declined it per this sheet of paper. Is that true? Was that a real thing?
No, nothing. I didn't hear anything about that whatsoever. All I did for that last fight of mine, I got on the plane, I come here and fought. I didn't hear anything about, I heard about my purse before the fight and that was it. All these donations and this and that, it's all hearsay. It's all pie in the sky. I didn't hear nothing about that.
Okay. Do you have a preference? Like, where do you think would be the ideal place to put on this fight if it gets done? Should it happen in the UK? Should it happen back in Cleveland? Should it happen venue in Vegas, maybe fight capital of the world, MSG? What do you think? What's the best place for it?
I mean, it's a big fight. It is a very big fight. I know in the UK, I can't go down the street without everybody asking me, when you're knocking out Jake Paul, when is this fight going to happen? And I wish I could tell them, but it's a massive fight in the UK. I do believe it would sell out an arena comfortably. So, of course, it's a big fight there. Over here in Vegas, it would comfortably, do the MGM, I'm sure. Because, as you see, Jake Paul brings a pretty big crowd with him. There was a pretty big crowd there in Cleveland. So, any of these places are options. I'd love to fight in Vegas where Tyson's about to fight. I'd love to fight back in Manchester. But the bottom line is, I don't care where this fight is. It's the same outcome.
Do you have a deadline? Because I'm assuming you want to be active, you want to move on with your life, you want to fight. If this fight doesn't come to fruition by X date, are you moving on to something else?
Oh, 100%. Listen, I'm not about to put my career on standstill for someone like Jake Paul, a YouTuber. I'm a professional athlete, professional boxer who's been doing this a long time. Jake Paul or no Jake Paul, you'll see me back in the ring in December.
Oh, really? Okay, wow. So that is it. You're fighting in December, no ifs, ands, or buts. If it's going to be Jake Paul, it'll be in December. If it's not going to be Jake Paul, you'll be there in December.
Correct.
Wow, okay. And why December? Any particular reason you want to just get one in before the end of the year?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a young, hungry fighter, and the only way to learn in this game is ring time. And I want as many fights as possible. So if I can squeeze another one in, I will do. And I'm looking at December because I'm back in the gym already. My weight's down. I'm ready to go. I'm fight ready all year round. So we're working on it, and we'll see. I should hopefully have some news after this fight's all said and done. I should hopefully have some good news by the end of next week.
Okay. Just a few other things I want to ask you about. I did see an article. Anytime you breathe or your Mrs. Molly May breathes, there's an article about it in the rags, I think they call it in England. She said she gets way too anxious when you fight. And it sounds like she doesn't enjoy it, and I can understand it's a loved one fighting. Is there a chance that maybe you don't go very far because, you don't want to put your loved ones in agony when you're fighting? Has she told you, hey, maybe we can cool it on the fighting stuff. We could do other things. We had a lot of success on TV. We don't have to get punched in the face. Has this conversation happened?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Molly's been with me long enough now. We've been together for over 2.5 years. She knows this is my life. I've been boxing since I've been 8 years old. I do nothing but box, and she knows how passionate about it. She knows how much it means to me. And the one thing that she does do, she gets anxious, yeah, but she's supporting me 100% of the way. And that's all I ask. And she doesn't mind when I'm going away for these training camps, or I'm going out to watch Tyson fight, or I'm going anywhere to do boxing, because that's my job. Like, her job is a social media influencer. She's got to go here, there for shoots. That's her job. So she knows when anything's to do with boxing, it's my job. And, there's nothing more passionate that I'm about than boxing. So, wherever the fight may be, she'll deal with it, and she'll be there supporting me 100% of the way.
We spoke to your brother Tyson on Monday. It was phenomenal stuff that he told us. He got very deep and introspective. He's one of the most interesting people in the fight game. And I'm wondering, from your perspective, if you can compare. I mean, I'm certain that you've seen him go through the ups and the downs. He seems to be in a great spot right now mentally. He seems to be very content. He's happy about the right things. He knows what success means. It means family life, home, kids, wife, not the money, not the fame. What's your read on Tyson right now, his sort of mental state going into this fight? From afar, it seems like he's in a really happy place, but, you never know. Could you tell us where he's at right now as he heads into this trilogy fight against Deontay Wilder?
Yeah, he's in the best place I've ever seen him mentally, because, like you said, he's been through the hard times, he's been through the good times, and now he's 100% in the correct place, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. He's trained super hard for this. He's had all the right sparring. He's been training. He's never stopped training. Me and Tyson was in Miami, I think in June. We was training flat out twice a day, every single day there. Tyson doesn't stop training because it's not about boxing. It's about for his mentalness. If he stops training, he gets bored and gets lonely, gets down. So he has to train every day. So Tyson's always in shape. As far as this fight goes, you're going to see the best Tyson Fury ever in this fight, because he had 6 weeks to work with Sugar Hill for the last fight. 6 weeks. And that was about 20 months ago. So he's had more time now to work with Sugar Hill to perfect that style. And we watched a comparison video the other day of Tyson in the second video and Tyson now. And I wouldn't like to be Deontay Wilder in that ring on Saturday night, I'll tell you that.
Oh my. What do you think? What's your prediction?
Ever since the fight got announced, round 5 has been through in my mind.
Wow.
That's what I'm going with. I just think there's nothing that Deontay Wilder can do. You've seen all this new footage of him coming out in the pads, doing other things. It's all right, but if you've never done that in a fight before, and you go into a new fight and you got a man punching you hard in the face, you're going to revert back to what you always done. And I do believe Deontay Wilder will revert back to what he did in the second fight, and it'll be over very quick.
By the way, ever have an instance where it's perhaps Tyson calling you on the phone, or even maybe your father, John, calling you on the phone, and you can't tell the difference? I've never heard two people who sound more alike than John and Tyson. You ever get mixed up between the two?
I mean, I've been around it long enough now to realize the difference, but I can imagine for everybody else it's very similar. I've honestly never heard two people sound alike in my life like that.
I asked Tyson about this on Monday, and he actually brought you up. I just want to play you this last clip, and then we'll let you go. Here's Tyson talking about perhaps getting you to sound like him and John in the future. Take a listen.
One of my good friends, Ty Mitchell, we were sparring, and he hit me in the throat real hard. And I developed a blood clot in my throat. And it messed around with my vocal cords. So this is why I talk like this now.
Wow.
So it sounds just like me dad. I've heard it, and I can even hear it myself. So yeah, we've both got a husky voice.
Yes, it's amazing.
Some would say it's quite sexy, I've been told.
I like it. It's iconic. It's very memorable. I don't mind it at all. Your brother Tommy sounds nothing like you guys. Maybe eventually that will happen to him as well. He also looks nothing like you. I mean, let's be honest.
Maybe I'll have to punch him in the throat sooner or later. Welcome him into the clan.
Any threats of being punched in the throat to make you sound officially like a Fury, or no?
I think it's coming. I'm not going to lie. I think it's coming one day. We do plenty of work in the gym, so I can imagine one day you'll hit me in the throat, and I will be speaking like, "Hey, you over there."
Yes.
I will join the clan.
Yeah.
That'll be me because, we're in the gym, we're all messing around, and probably end up like my dad and brother. Yeah, as the time goes on.
Have you ever sparred him?
Yeah, many times.
Okay, for this camp.
It's I've sparred Tyson ever since first when I started boxing, and bits throughout every camp really. It's absolutely pointless for me because I'm hitting nothing but the wind. You try and hit him around the body, you hit his elbows, and you end up breaking your hand on him. Tyson's a one of a kind athlete, but of course to share the ring with him is it's amazing for me. And obviously you can't get any better work than that. So I'm happy and I'm blessed that it's there on the other end of the phone. Whatever I need in this game, I've got the perfect man and the best in the world to advise me, go down the street, do this, do that right. I'm so lucky to be in the position that I am. I'm going to take full advantage of it.
I actually asked him if he was going to offer you any advice on how to get this deal done with Jake. And he said, that's your business. That's your money. He's not going to help out. He wants you to figure it out. Is that accurate?
Yeah, definitely 100%. Because if you get told everything in this life, you're not really going to go anywhere. You need to have your own brain and think for yourself. And that's what I've done. I know my worth. I know what this fight is, and I know, how to get this fight done. And I've stuck to my guns all the way, and it looks good at the minute. So, I'm not about to change anything now. So I'm going to sit tight and enjoy the fight the weekend.
Last thing, just for the sake of accuracy, do you want to tell us how much you want for the fight? I mean, I can call them. I could call Nikisa now. We could try to make the fight a done deal. Do you want to tell us or?
No, listen, everything like that just depends on my lawyers. Okay. Everything goes through my lawyers and stuff like that. That's all that needs to be mentioned. As far as anything else, you'll hear from me, and you'll hear from me about Jake Paul when this fight's done. And until it's done, I ain't gonna burn his name out of my mouth like he's doing to me. Every other day I'm on his story. Can't get enough of me at the minute. He must fancy me or something. I know he said he wants to grip your cheeks, so we'll see.
Do you want to send him a message right now? Do you want to say anything to Jake?
Yes, Mr. Jake Paul. When me and you get in the ring, kiss goodbye and don't ever put on a pair of boxing gloves ever again. It's over for you. I'm going to send you straight back to where you belong, jumping off bridges on YouTube and messing about with a camera, because you don't belong in my world, mate, and you're going to find that out very soon. So keep talking.
I love it. And by the way, no truth to the rumor. I heard people were saying one of the sticking points was both you and Jake said I had to be the post-fight interviewer for the fight. I just want to say, I hadn't heard that yet. I mean, I appreciate you guys sticking your neck out for me, but don't let me be the stumbling block for making this fight happen, okay?
Listen, it's all down to you. You are probably the best interviewer I've been on with. So,
thank you.
Credit to you, and let's hope you get the job, eh?
All right, thank you, Tommy. I wish you and the family the best on Saturday. This was great stuff, and good luck in trying to get that fight done. And I look forward to seeing you in action, hopefully against Jake in December, but if not, against someone else. Thank you so much, Tommy. Good luck.
Thanks very much. God bless.
All right, there he is, the one and only Tommy Fury, TNT, Dynamite, TNT. Had something stuck in my throat. What a mensch that guy is, huh? I mean, that's a big-time fight. He's selling it. He's selling it big time. Tommy Fury, Jake Paul. Jake, if you're watching. Nikisa, if you're watching. I know you're doing interviews now. You want to come on? You want to respond to the comments of one Tommy Fury? We're on for the next hour and a half or so. Please jump on in. I mean, we had Patricio Pitbull just jump on in. That's the beauty of this show. You may not get 17 guests, but you'll get a few surprises along the way. That's the beauty of this program. All right. Great stuff there. In a bit, we're going to be joined by TJ Dillashaw. We're also going to be joined by Zhang Weili. And, of course, we'll wrap this bad boy up answering your questions, everyone's favorite segment of the week, On the Nose. And I haven't looked. Look, I never look. I haven't looked, but I'm hoping that you guys come through. At the moment, 69 questions up there. No cap. Right there. All facts. At the moment, 69 over on the old Substack. So if you got something to say, short, tight, concise, let us know, and I'll answer it at the very end of the program. And again, a reminder, no show on Monday. I hope you don't miss us too much. And you'll have to figure out if GC won or not, because we won't have an opportunity to recap on Monday. We'll be back next Wednesday for our next program. And so with that in mind, without further ado, let us go back to the machine over here. Let's go to the control room and say hello to GC. There he is, feeling himself. He's got his Atlanta Hawks. I am starting to figure out the gimmick here.
Falcons.
It's Falcons. Excuse me. What did I just say? Hawks. Oh, I'm starting to figure out the gimmick here. It's all Georgia-based gear.
I mean, it's my wardrobe. I lived there for 24 years. So
I mean, I lived in Montreal for 20 years. I'm not wearing Montreal gear 24/7.
As you would say, not to break the fourth wall, but you come in an Expos hat every single day.
That's true.
You're talking about the 94.
That's true.
NL East race. Come on.
That's true. Falcons, what's their record right now?
Not good. 1-3.
1-3.
Yeah, they're not good.
Are you one of those guys who won't bet on your team?
I mean, I'm not betting on the Falcons this year, but no, I'll bet on my team. I'll bet on Georgia against Clemson this year.
All right. So it's Wednesday, which means, as we like to do these days, we're going to get some picks from you.
Yeah.
Quick recap. What are we up right now?
We are up 5.7 units overall. So yeah, first 2 weekends have been pretty good to us. 2 profitable weekends.
I mean, everyone's buzzing about GC and Helwani, the hottest new segment in mixed martial arts. In fact, the person who this segment is named after, the great Daniel Cormier, actually called me about it. I thought he'd be upset.
You're lying. That really happened?
Of course. DC and I talk all the time. I mean, call him up right now. Said he was honored. Said that he took it as a big compliment and that he wished you the best. You know, obviously he said you sound a lot like Will Arnett. He's not.
It's Reese's. It's Reese's what Will Arnett does, not Kit Kat. I came on here.
Oh, okay.
He was the Kit Kat guy.
All right. Well, he said that he's honored by the mention, the recognition, us sort of tipping our cap, giving the old nod to the program DC and Helwani, and he has no issues with it whatsoever. And so. We've got UFC. The main ones we have, obviously, are UFC this Saturday and the big boxing match. I don't know if you're doing the boxing match. I think it would be fun. We talked a bit about it on Monday. So without further ado, the floor is yours.
Yeah, we're gonna mix in some boxing. Ooh. You got me following a Fury again.
I like
it to me on Monday, and now you're doing it to me again now. This time it's
my bad.
Great looking one. Yeah, now everyone has to see me.
I'm sorry.
You just set me up for failure here. All right, yeah. So UFC Vegas 39.
I'm not a big fan of. Why did Mysterious Frank? Why'd you cut my mic there? Was there something wrong? Did I hit the mic?
You're water drinking.
Yeah. So is that gross?
I'll do it with you. Actually, I'm kind of thirsty.
I can't believe this is
Oh, wow.
What's the problem? So Mysterious Frank is actually waiting for me to drink the water, and you're going to mute me every time I drink the water? Is that what's happening? Is it that bad?
Never again.
Why did I do it?
Water all over the show.
Oh, that's right. Did I do that during the Fury interview, and you were disgusted?
He wouldn't shut up about it.
I was like, I was actually like mid. I was like, and then I noticed, oh, my mic is off. I thought it was a mistake, like I kicked something. But I guess MF is quick on the trigger over there. What were we talking about?
You're bothered by something about UFC Vegas.
Oh yes,
39.
I don't call it Vegas 39. Okay, we need to drop that because.
I knew you were going to say this.
Well, guess what?
I did Fight Night last
I hate
week.
that.
I knew you
hate that.
What is it?
By the way, there have been more than 39 events in Vegas. Why are we talking like it's been just this thing that started 39 events? I mean, that's absurd. There's probably been 150 events.
The graphic says Vegas 39. So
where's the graph? Oh, yours?
Yeah, we can't show it yet. We haven't.
Scrap the segment. Scrap the segment. Call up Tommy Fury. Okay, just for the record, I like to call them. Okay, the events are like UFC 266. Those are obvious. For the fight nights, I just go with fight night. UFC Fight Night, Dern versus
Rodriguez.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of the X, by the way, not the versus. X is like a Brazilian way of doing it. Instead of versus, they do X.
Yeah,
it looks a lot cooler. Actually, ever since I've been doing it, if you notice on the ticker on ESPN for Monday Night Football, they've been using it now. They stole my gimmick. They'll do like Raiders X Chargers. Completely ripped off my gimmick. Next time you watch...
Oh, you completely came up with it.
Yeah.
The Brazilian style. They stole your
I brought it to America.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway.
Yeah, no, we're not scrapping the graphics, though.
I love the graphics.
Lupita got canceled. She was on there. We had to go back to the lab, change the graphic. It was a tough night for us. But... yeah, we had to get pretty deep in the mud for this one.
Yeah, it's not the best card. It's a little bit thin.
You said it, not me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is not the best card. It is a little bit thin. Kind of a tough card to bet too. A lot of lopsided lines here. So we got 3 singles now. We had 4, but we lost Lupita, unfortunately. Sam Hughes. That was the trilogy that everyone was waiting for. Not Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. Yeah. It was Lupita, Sam Hughes.
Right.
Third time they were going to be fighting, but unfortunately, we are not going to get that. So, let's start with the singles.
Okay.
Prelims. First fight of the night, I guess afternoon. This one's going to be happening at like 1 o'clock.
Yes.
Little afternoon delight on the Saturday for you. Steve Garcia. We're going to take him by KO, TKO, or DQ at even money over Charles Ontiveros. This is a weird fight. It's kind of a weird card, and we started off with a weird fight. I'm not exactly sure why it's a UFC fight. Ontiveros spent his entire career at 170, welterweight. Then he makes his UFC debut. He makes the jump to be a last-minute replacement for Kevin Holland. He goes to middleweight, gets ragdoll, slammed to the ground, first round, neck injury, done from there. Mm-hmm. Now he's moving all the way down to lightweight to take this fight against Steve Garcia, 6'2" lightweight. He may struggle to make weight here. I just find that odd. Meanwhile, on the flip side of this, Steve Garcia, he spent his whole career at bantamweight, took a couple fights at featherweight, makes his UFC debut at lightweight. So they're kind of meeting in the middle of the weight classes here. I don't know. I just kind of found that odd. But we've at least seen Steve Garcia at lightweight, and we've seen him at lightweight in the UFC, albeit he got dominated by Violent Bob Ross. But he was putting pretty good pressure on him. So 6 foot kind of makes more sense for him to be at lightweight. All right, let's look back at the history of these guys a little bit, which I also found interesting. Charles Ontiveros, he fought our man Michael Page, MVP, who we saw last week. He gets labeled as a can crusher. One of the cans that he crushed was Ontiveros. He beat him in the first round. And then if MVP is the can crusher, then Ontiveros is a can crushing cans. 8 of his 11 wins come against opponents that are under 500. The combined record of his opponents, the current combined record of the opponents that he's beaten is 55-66. For those doing the math at home, that's 45% win percentage. That's not good in the fight game. He's not winning against really good guys. Meanwhile, Garcia, he's only fought 2 guys under 500 in his entire career. Also, his losses, they're not that bad for a guy that's fighting in the very first fight on not that great of a card. Luis Pena, Elon Cruz, Ricky Tercios, kind of quality losses. enough about that. Let's get to the actual fight, the octagon. How does Ontiveros lose? By knockout. He's been finished in all 7 of his losses, 6 of them coming by knockout. How does Steve Garcia win? By knockout. 8 of his 11 wins coming by knockout. I think he uses that pressure we saw him put on Luis Pena, but he's not going to get taken to the ground this time. And he'll be able to get the knockout on Ontiveros and cash our even money ticket.
This is the most amount of time that we have ever spent on a UFC curtain jerker in the history of this program.
That's what you get, man. We're deep in the mud. I told you we got in the mud, and that's exactly where we're at right now.
All right. Let's keep it moving before we lose all the audience.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's what we're playing. Well, I mean, it's a winner. I'll come back to
Steve,
you.
I know. That's right.
Yeah,
in my face.
Well, we were going to go with the second fight after this. I had a deep dive on Lupita Godinez against Sam Hughes.
And what happened, by the way?
Sam Hughes' coach, COVID.
Okay.
So it's no longer happening anymore. Unfortunate to see.
Is there a new? Is Silvana Juarez in the spot now, or am I wrong?
Yeah, it was someone supposed to be on the Contender Series.
Oh, right. And they moved.
Making
but you're not touching it.
Nah, now Lupita's like a huge favorite.
Okay.
She's like minus 400.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll start with the first fight. Now we'll jump all the way to the main event.
Really?
Weights. Yeah. I mean, I don't have that many singles. I got 2, and the third one's on the boxing.
Okay, gotcha.
Marina Rodriguez. I'm gonna take her at money line.
Oh
plus
my
145.
gosh. Wait,
yeah.
Can you call? Hey, Joe, can you call back Mackenzie real quick and let her know? I feel there he is. Get her on the horn. I feel like who did you do this to last week? Oh, Lauren Murphy.
Yep.
Okay.
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
That's right. All right.
That one was a little more clear cut. This one we're taking the dog.
So it's money line, huh?
I'm taking the money line plus 145.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, stylistically, opposites attract here. Grappler and Mackenzie Dern, striker and Marina Rodriguez. I see it kind of as a closer to a coin flip than Vegas does. I've seen as big as minus 180 for Mackenzie Dern.
Really? That surprises me.
I mean, that could be my downfall, doubting Vegas. Mm-hmm. But whose strength is going to shine more through here? And if the odds were flipped, I'd probably be taking Mackenzie Dern. If Dern was the underdog, I'd be taking her. I just think there's value in the dog here, and in a fight that I could see going either way. Marina's obviously the superior striker here. Dern, she looked more improved against Jandiroba, but Rodriguez still has the massive advantage. Now, obviously, with Dern, what we're worried about is getting taken to the ground and getting submitted. BJJ black belt, ADC submission fighting world champion, 5 of her last wins by submission, all of those coming in the first round. She's literally got the danger to take it to the ground and end it at any moment if she gets the opportunity to. If I was taking Dern, I would take it at submission at plus 150. I think that's the play if you're going to be playing Dern. I think that's her path to victory. A lot of people point to Dern. She, I don't know if you knew this, 10% takedown accuracy for someone who's getting all these submissions.
Interesting.
In the UFC. I think that's kind of skewed. I think she's improved that in recent fights. And obviously it doesn't seem to matter. For the last fights, she wins by submission. And she really only needs 1. But she goes 0 for 5 on takedowns against Jandiroba. Goes to a decision. Goes 0 for 6 against Hebus. Goes to a decision, gets her only career loss.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was literally 4 months after she gave birth, but fair enough.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I mean, yeah. So, Rodriguez, she's got 62% takedown defense. She kept it off the mat majority of the fight against Waterson, despite Waterson going for the takedowns in that one. So what if Dern can't take it to the ground? What if she cannot get that early submission? What if she has to go the distance with Rodriguez? This is a 5-rounder. What is she going to look like in the championship rounds? We know what Rodriguez is going to look like. She went to 25 minutes with Waterson. I feel confident that she can continue to outstrike her throughout the fight if she can avoid getting submitted. And, I think she can win by a decision. And she's shown the potential that even at 115, she has the power to turn the lights off. And I think she might be able to do that here. The path is clear for Dern. I mentioned that. But I think Rodriguez also knows that the path is clear. She's been training to defend against these takedowns, to defend against these submissions. And I think that's what she's going to do. Also, little bonus. You talked against it last week, MMA math. It worked out for us with Jamie Malarkey, so we're just going to keep riding the train. Dern, the only loss. Amanda Hebus knocked out in the second round against Marina there. Ipso flipso. I think Rodriguez. I think she's a live dog at plus 145. That's what I'm
surprised that it's that lopsided plus 145. But I thought for sure it would have been like a minus 110, minus 110.
That's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Then I saw the odds. That's why I'm saying.
Yeah. No, it's worth it.
I think
Marina's really good. Marina's really good. She looked great in her last fight.
I think it's a little bit more of a coin flip. That's why I said, I think if Dern was the underdog here, like if I would be taking Dern.
Right.
I don't think I'm favoring either one that much. I just think the value is in the dog. So I'm rocking with plus 145 with Marina.
I like it.
All right.
It's a big fight. I mean, I know it's not, the biggest main event of all time, but both have looked very good, and I'm very high on Mackenzie Dern. I'm very high. I think the winner of this fight is going to be one fight away from, maybe the winner of the fight is going to fight Carla Esparza, who I think should have probably gotten the nod in the title fight on November 6th, but they went with Zhang Weili, the rematch against Rose Namajunas. And I understand from a business standpoint why they did that. I can see the winner of this fight fighting Carla, and that would be an interesting style matchup, especially if it's Mackenzie Dern, the wrestler versus the jiu-jitsu practitioner, and you talked about the takedowns. So yeah, interesting stuff. Big time fight, deserves the attention. What else we got?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great fight. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if Dern won. Last single play we got.
Well, now it feels like you're hedging by saying that, because you're going to come back and say, "But I told you I wouldn't be surprised."
I told you if you're going to take a way on Dern, it's the plus money, plus 150 on submission. But we'll see. I'm riding with Rodriguez.
You didn't mute me there, by the way, but I moved away from the mic.
It's all over now.
It's over? You can't do it? I feel like it's a good gimmick.
I mean, I've been doing it since we started.
We started?
The show back up, yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't notice. You're quick.
Well, this one's that you interrupted yourself.
Yeah, I know. That's right. That's right. My bad. All right. What else we got?
All right. We're going to do a little sprinkle here. You mentioned this line on Monday.
Oh.
I'm intrigued by it. Tyson Fury with the points by decision, plus 300 over Deontay Wilder.
Is it plus 300 now? Was it plus 300 on Monday?
I want to say it was like plus 2.
Yeah.
And then I found it at plus 300. Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, they went the distance in the first fight.
Yep, there it is.
Probably should have gone to Tyson on points.
Oh, I like those little glove emojis.
Yeah, nice touch.
Yeah, nice.
Nice touch. Differentiate, it's not it's the boxing. Yeah, nice touch. But, yeah, I mean, like Tyson said on Monday, they've gone 19 rounds. He thinks Wilder's only won 2 of them. I just don't really see a scenario where Wilder wins by decision. I think Wilder's going to have to be smarter here. Like, it's the only option if he wants to stay in this fight. And Tyson has respect for his power. I think he has to be careful as well. And on top of that, interestingly enough, 4 of Tyson's last 7 have gone to decision, including one against Wilder. Just to go to decision is plus 220. Might as well jack it up to plus 300, because I think if it does go decision, I firmly believe that Tyson Fury will win.
Yes. Like if you told me right now that you have already seen the fight and it went the distance, but you're not going to tell me who won, I'm saying, yeah, that's obviously Tyson Fury.
Yes.
By the way, his bro, Tommy, he said, what did he say? 5th round, right? I want to look up. If you go with Tommy's pick of 5th round, it is.
It's gonna pay out pretty good.
Yeah, plus 1,400.
Oh.
Is it worth a sprinkle? And then I'll bill him if we lose.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, if we can comp the bet out, then yeah, absolutely. I mean, at plus 1,400 though, that could cover the Jake Paul contract. He doesn't even need to fight if he's hitting those.
That's true. He's in Vegas. Make it happen, Tommy. Let's go.
I mean, the guy knows it better than anyone. So.
All right. So it's just that.
Just 3 singles, man.
Okay.
It's not a huge.
Listen, you don't have to give us 8 like last time or whatever it was.
I don't love a ton of places we can, but we do. We're gonna get interesting. We're gonna get weird. It's a weird card. We're gonna get weird with the parlays here.
All right. What do we got?
We got 2 parlays.
2 parlays.
2 parlays.
Okay.
Man. So we're gonna start with parlay number 1. Prelims, leg 1. Steve Garcia. This one just the money line minus 300 over on Taveras. All the reasons that I just listed earlier. It's as easy as that. We'll move on to leg 2. Chris Gutierrez, minus 265, over Felipe Colares. Colares, he's never been finished. He's eaten a lot of big punches. That Montel Jackson fight, the Luke Sanders one, he's got a great chin. He's always applying pressure. But with that being said, I still think Gutierrez has the massive striking advantage here. Colares just is not good on his feet. He absorbs twice the amount of strikes that he lands, and we can't forget Gutierrez. He's going to go to the legs. That's what he does. He's going to start chopping the wood early and often. He actually has a leg kick finish against Vince Morales, his only finish in the UFC. Calves are going to be red. He's just going to be depositing in the calf kick bank on this one. I think only the danger is Colares taking it to the ground, BJJ black belt. But even if that happens, even if his legs aren't compromised at that point, I think Gutierrez has solid enough takedown defense. Plus, we got a little more MMA math, We're just going to ride it till it fails, I guess. Geraldo de Frites, he welcomes Colares to the UFC with a loss. Next fight, goes out, loses to Chris Gutierrez.
Wow.
So I'm going to ride with Gutierrez. I think it happens by unanimous decision here.
Okay, and that is the the headliner, if you will, of the prelims, the last fight on the prelims. By the way, card starts at 1:30. I said 1. Starts at 1:30 Eastern, and it's on ESPN Plus. Yeah. Main card on ESPN, by the way, the worldwide leader, our former home. By the way, I was wondering, I noticed your Twitter avatar is you, I think, on the red carpet at the ESPYs.
Yeah, that's completely fabricated. It's a setup they give you in Bristol.
Oh, okay.
No. I mean, they would never send me to the ESPYs. Come on.
Well, I wasn't even wondering about that. I was just wondering when you were going to change it, because it's almost like, hey, I have a new relationship, I have a new partner, and yet I'm still keeping the same photo of, my old partner.
I don't play that game.
It's weird. I mean,
my Venmo picture is still with my ex-girlfriend. I've
really
in a relationship. Yeah, I just don't.
And the new one doesn't mind?
No.
Does she even know?
Oh, she knows. She Venmos me all the time. I mean,
she hasn't brought this up. I mean, that's actually really
It's
weird.
been brought up in front of her. I just don't. It's just not that big of a deal.
Come on.
And here you are. She doesn't sweat it. Yeah. Here you are sweating.
I was actually wondering. I was like, okay.
I mean, look at this.
I'm waiting. When are we changing it? Your Venmo is of your ex-girlfriend. Is it just a picture of her, or is it you and her?
I mean, it's just me and her. I've just never taken the time to change it. I just
weird,
don't care about my Venmo.
I need
picture.
to talk to your new girlfriend about this. That is weird. That is really weird. Yeah, she's
watching right now. There's no doubt she's watching right now.
Well, whatever.
So I'm sure I'm going to get a
wherever. What's her name? Can I have a first name?
Tessa.
Tessa. I mean, we need to fix this. I mean, this is a problem. If I'm being honest, your and she's actually like, my wife doesn't Venmo me. We don't have a reason to. We have a bank account, shared, whatever. She actually has to see this. Most people go through the timeline.
It's so small. It's like
most people have to go through and cleanse the timeline. That seems like the appropriate thing to do. You're rubbing it in her face.
No. By the time you pull up the Venmo picture, by the time you get to the actual one and you're viewing it full size on the phone, it's so pixelated. You can't even tell. It's
Joe, do me a favor. Call up Tessa right now. Let's.
It's a nothing issue. And here you are sweating my ass.
I mean, the SB one is weird. I mean, we work for a great company now. It just feels like it's time to move on. Are you still hanging on? I mean,
let me get a red carpet picture for Fox.
I mean, get one on the set. I mean, this is the most iconic set in broadcasting at this point. It would be a nice picture, and then you go new profile pic, # new profile pic at Greeny, just to let him know what he had. Greeny, by the way,
Yoon actually worked with Greeny. This past weekend.
What do you mean? Where?
Some sort of football thing.
Yoon? What? Yoon's? I didn't know she was seeing other shows. I thought it was.
She has.
I thought she was
extra
exclusive.
things she has.
Okay, interesting. Greeny now the voice of the NBA apparently.
Congratulations.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty
NBA
much
countdown.
Unbelievable. The guy's got like 900 jobs. He's working to the bone. Okay, back to the pick. Sorry.
Yeah, we got to finish this before we go to TJ.
Yeah.
All right, final leg of the first parlay, co-main event, Randy Brown, Jared Gooden. Randy Brown, Jared Gooden, co-main event. Here we go. You got to love it. I'm going to take Randy Brown at -235 here.
Okay.
I think the way Jared Gooden gets the win is by knockout. People say Randy Brown likes to go to sleep, say he has a bad chin, but if you look at the people he's lost to, Vicente Luque, Nico Price. Nico Price with a hammer fist from the bottom position. I just don't see that happening here. He even had a decision with Bilal Muhammad. He's losing to high-quality opponents. I think if he stays on the feet, Randy Brown has the advantage. Height, reach, keep him at range. He's the better striker. Goes to the ground, I think Randy Brown is the better wrestler. I think as long as he stays conscious, avoids the KO, Randy Brown has numerous avenues, gets the hand raised. So we'll go with Rude Boy to finish out the parlay, which will pay out, as you can see, +162.
+162. Look at that. I like that. Some people were accusing you last week of, what was the Bellator one?
+111.
111, all right.
Yeah, proud of that one. 4-leg +111. But
what's by the way, most that you ever hit on a parlay? 5, 6? Like how many legs?
Legs? I mean, I've done like 8 or 9.
Really?
Ones, yeah.
And you hit it?
Yeah, I mean, not always, but yes. I've hit some pretty ridiculous bets. I mean, I've been betting for
right. Who got you into it?
Just when I was in college. I mean, I always loved sports. So,
do you feel like your life has changed drastically since like everything became legal? Not all states, but New Jersey, New York. You don't, because you were figuring out ways.
Yeah, I mean, you got the offshore books,
right? Perhaps we'll have a big announcement regarding this in the very near future pertaining to this program.
That's for you to say, not me.
Yeah. All right.
Let's
second one. Yep.
Parlay number 2. We'll start with the prelims. Heavyweights, Alexander Romanov. We're going to take him inside the distance at -250 over Jared Vanderaa. Romanov, he's 14-0, 13 wins by finish. Could be 14, but obviously that one against Juan Espino got got called early because of the low blow. Vanderaa, he's 3-2 in his last 5. And in his last loss back in February, Romanov's fellow countryman, he did us a favor, the fellow Moldovan, Sergey Spivak, the polar bear. He lays out the masterclass for Romanov to get the victory against Vanderaa. You take this one to the ground right from the jump and you start going to work. Polar bear, he had 8.5 minutes of control time in a 9.5-minute fight before finishing him late second round. Jared Vanderaa has 0% takedown defense. I'm not saying like he has 0 takedown defense. I literally mean he has 0% takedown defense.
Wow.
He's never stuffed a takedown in his 3 fights in the UFC. What's Romanov's specialty? It's wrestling. He has over 70% control time in his 3 UFC fights. If you can keep that number up, it would actually be the highest in heavyweight history. Obviously, that's tough to do. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that, but I think he keeps it up here. The path is clear. His strength is his opponent's weakness. And so we will go with King Kong from Moldova to get the win by finish.
I love it. Do we have the graphic for this?
Oh, no, we can't go to
Okay, sorry.
Got to give the last two.
Yeah, you don't want to reveal. I get it.
We'll go middleweights for the next one, main card. We'll go with Phil Haas at -290 over Deron Winn. There's another bout with a good wrestler, but this one is much, much different with this one. Obviously, the glaring difference is the size of the two fighters. Deron Winn, he's fighting at middleweight, 5'6", 70-inch reach, going against Phil Haas, 6 foot flat, 77.5-inch reach. That is a 7.5 reach advantage for Haas. Size disadvantage, expertise being wrestling. We know Wynn's going to try to get this one to the ground, but can he? I mean, Haas is a pretty good wrestler. We saw him get the NJCAA National Championship at Iowa Central Community College. We just saw what Kyle Dawkins can do. In that fight against Kevin Holland, man, he was doing really well. Fantastic grappler. Haas fought Dawkins previously, the fight before Holland, and he won by unanimous decision. He stuffed all 7 of Dawkins' takedown attempts. I think he's going to be able to do that one here. We also know Haas has that KO power. We've seen that 18-second knockout against Jacob Malcon. He's got the size advantage, better, broader skill set. Deron Winn, he's just 1-2 in his last 3 fights. We'll take Megatron to get it done here for the second leg.
Big one for Deron Winn. Mini DC, my guy.
Mini DC,
Some might say a must-win for the big boy.
I really can't argue with you.
Tough draw.
Yeah.
Tough draw against Phil Haas. Yeah.
All right, third and final leg. It's the crossover parlay. We're going to take Tyson Fury -295 over Deontay Wilder. I mentioned the decision prop. This one, it's just a win. Win any way you want, man. I learned my lessons of the Gypsy King last fight. I was holding the Deontay Wilder ticket. I was ripping it up quick, man.
What was it? Deontay Wilder via?
Ooh, nothing. Just a win last time.
Right.
Yeah, it was like a -110 fight. Yeah, I got schooled pretty bad on that one. Fury, he said it on Monday that he's improved since the last fight too. I actually believe him. And it's the last leg. I know it's only a +152 parlay, but it's the last leg. It leaves the door open if we want to do a little hedge on Wilder by KO at +275. I think that's the only way he wins. So, to finish it off, Tyson Fury money line. And that'll pay +152.
Oh, okay. Another plus. By the way, you can go you can do, not to say that we want that here, but you can do parlays with anything, right? You could do one fight, one basketball game, one.
Yeah. Especially on books like DraftKings and FanDuel, they leave the option open. But I said we were going to get weird.
I like it.
So we're going to get weird here. We're going to add a little extra sprinkle onto this.
There's more?
Oh. What could possibly go wrong with this one? We're going to take the ingredients from parlay number 1.
Yes.
The ingredients from parlay number 2. We're going to put them in a melting pot. We're going to stir them together, and we're going to parlay the parlays. We're going to put a little sprinkle on that. Obviously not as much as the other 2 parlays, but we're going to take a 6-leg parlay combining the 2 parlays we took, just in case if they all hit.
Wait, so that's a third parlay?
A third parlay. We have a third
What
parlay
the
for this weird,
hell?
wacky card.
That is bizarre. I never heard of someone doing that.
Well, you just have.
Yeah.
I mean, so here's the plan of action here to make a little bit more sense. If one hits and the other loses, it's just kind of a wash.
Yeah.
You profit a small amount. But if you go 2 for 2 and then you get that extra little sprinkle, I'm talking like half of what you're putting on the single parlays on this big parlay. If they all hit, then you don't want to have both parlays hit and not have the 6-leg parlay just in case.
I get it. I mean, I've never heard of it, but I understand why you're doing it. I mean, I don't understand why you're doing it. I understand the reasoning behind it.
If you understand the reason, it sounds like you understand why I'm doing it.
I mean, it just seems a little crazy, but...
we got to get crazy on this.
I mean, you could end up looking like a genius come Saturday night, so...
Or we could just hit one parlay,
Just
go,
one,
1 and 1 in the singles, and Could just be, I don't know. I mean, this is going to be it's a weird.
I like it. You've given us an extra reason to be invested. You've given us something to look forward to. So thank you. And Jedi Goodman has already tweeted out the picks. I mean, we're already done.
Well, the super parlay, the parlay, yeah. that pays plus 560.
Wow. Yeah. That's fun.
It's fun, man. It's going to, we'll see. We'll see, though. We'll see.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
TJ Dillashaw.
TJ Dillashaw coming up next. Strap on your seatbelt. After that, we'll be joined by Zhang Weili, and then we'll be answering some questions. So thank you very much to GC. Tons of picks there. He'll be tweeting them at Connor Burks is the Twitter handle, and we'll see how he does. He's up as of now. How many weeks have we been doing this? 2? I think it was 266 was the first one. Last week was the second one. Time is just all mixed. I mean, I feel like I've been doing this show now for the last 3 years. Feels like we never left at this point. In reality, we've only been doing it for a little over a month and a half. Less than 2 months. August 15th. I think so. Yeah, it was August 15th. All right. So, matter of seconds, we're going to be joined by TJ Dillashaw. On Monday, we spoke to Corey Sandhagen about his opportunity to fight for the interim bantamweight title on October 30th. He's fighting Petr Yan. Of course, this fight is happening because Aljamain Sterling, who we spoke to last week, we're really into the weeds here with the bantamweights. I like it. We're kind of following. It's like an episodic television show, a sitcom. You know, sometimes there are one-offs. Other times there are threads between each episode. I don't know why I have 2 pencils now, but I'm kind of liking it. So last week we spoke to Aljo. Monday we spoke to Corey. And in a matter of seconds, we're talking to TJ Dillashaw. Of course, the last time we saw TJ Dillashaw in action was back in July. Very close fight, one of the best fights of the year. In the end, TJ Dillashaw got the nod, and it was his first fight in over 2 years since the Henry Cejudo fight. And of course, it was supposed to happen earlier in the year, but he suffered that gnarly cut, so it had to be postponed. And then the fight happens, and then he got banged up again and had surgery, a whole bunch of stuff. And one wonders, had he not had the surgery, he might be the guy fighting Petr Yan on October 30th in Abu Dhabi. So a lot to talk to the former UFC bantamweight champion about. Let's go to the Magic of Zoom and say hello to TJ Dillashaw. There he is. TJ, how are you?
Doing good, man. How about you?
Long time no speak. I like the beard, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I don't look so young, I guess, with it. You know, I'm getting old, so it's time to look the part.
Yes, I like it very much. So, like I said, a lot to talk to you about. First things first, how are you feeling? You had the knee surgery, right?
Yeah, I had knee surgery, 9 weeks ago? I think almost going on 10 weeks. Starting to feel a lot better. You know, I was on crutches for 5, so that's, a little unfortunate. But because of what I tore, I had to be pretty careful with coming back and getting off the crutches and stuff. So, yeah, it was a super unfortunate situation. I mean, I tore everything but my ACL and my knee. I tore my LCL,
Damn.
my medial, my medial and my lateral meniscus, as well as my PCL.
Wow. And that was in the fight, right?
That was the last 10 seconds of the first round when Corey tried scrambling up to his feet. So he was going for a heel hook, never had the heel hook. I started landing some big ground and pounds. So he pushed off with his legs to stand up. And as he threw me backwards, I tried to stay on top. And my knee was in that 50-50 position, bent outward sideways. And that's where the LCL and everything just exploded up the side. I mean, it was so loud. I'm surprised. I mean, he didn't hear it. I mean, he might have. I don't know. It was really loud and pretty painful, to be honest.
How did you fight 20 more minutes with that?
Just straight grit and will. And, I'm coming back off 2 years, and that's not the way I wanted that fight to end, So I just pushed through it, man. I mean, that's kind of why I came out. When I watch it now, I came out so flat-footed that second round because, I mean, I remember sitting down in the corner and the first thing I said was my knee's fucked, and they blurted it out because I cussed and it was on ESPN. But, they wanted to ice it and stuff, but there was no point of doing so. I was real worried about it coming out in the second round. So I had less footwork, was a little flat-footed, and I'd say that was Corey's best round.
At any point, did the pain get to be too much? Did you think man, I can't do this. We're in the third round here. I got 2 more rounds of this. That's absurd. Most guys tear their, all that stuff. I mean, they're on the court, they're on the field, they're on the mat crying. I mean, and understandably so. Did you ever think of that?
There's a point in the second round where I took Corey's back and I threw my hooks in, like taking his back and putting my legs in. And when I put my legs in, it popped completely back out again. And I actually I was in like the best situation you could be in, and I had to completely bail out and push off of him because my knee popped back out of socket. And that was probably when I felt the most pain. It obviously hurt when it happened, but when it popped out again the second time, it hurt really bad. And from there on out, from the rest of the fight, I kind of had to do what I could to not let it, because your LCL is what keeps your knee in socket kind of. And so after that happened, I kind of did whatever I could to not let that happen again. So when I would take his back, it was the whole reason why I wasn't really finishing my takedowns, because I couldn't lift, I couldn't do my trips. A lot of things that I wasn't unfortunately able to do.
And you couldn't see as well out of one eye?
Yeah, man. I mean, I had a gnarly that cut reopened, obviously a different direction, even a worse direction. I wish it would have opened. Actually, if I was, it's crazy they didn't stop it. I really owe Tate a huge thank you, because he did a great job, the cut man, of closing it up at the end of each round. And so it like the first minute of every round, it was good. After the second round, I could see, but because of the way the cut went, it went vertical. You can probably still see the scar.
Yeah.
It went vertical this way, so it was going straight down into my tear duct, and so all that blood that was coming out was just going straight into my eye, and I had to completely lie and say that I could see.
Wow. And that's your right eye. I mean, so you're dealing with the knee, you're dealing with the eye. By the time the fight is over, before they reach, the end of the fight, the scorecards are read. Do you think you have won this fight, or are you preparing yourself for defeat?
No, I knew it was a close fight, but I figured I won 3 rounds when I was going into it, because I knew that Corey did his best damage in the second round and had another good, pretty close round with me. But the thing about this is a sport, right? So yeah, I definitely got banged up. One of those, the knees, is my fault. The eye was a cut that I already previously had, but that doesn't matter, right? Going into the fight, it doesn't matter. So, but he had his best rounds, his biggest punches, and dropped me. Was in the same round, so he won those rounds, and I knew that going into it. I talked to Dwayne as soon as the fight was over. I was like, I won that, right? He's like, yeah, you got it. I was like, cool. And so going into, but I was still nervous, because going into that decision, I knew it was a very close fight, and I've been into some fights in which the judges that I don't agree with, right? And so, yeah, you're always nervous going to that decision, but I felt like I did enough. And then afterwards, I went back and watched the fight, and I actually think I won 4 rounds. I mean, I might be being a little biased, but when you actually look at the control and what was done, I mean, most of those rounds he spent his face against the cage, and if I would have had 2 healthy legs, I mean, that fight would have been completely different. I mean, I don't think he would have made it out of the fight, actually.
Much was made of the fact that you guys trained together back in the day. Vastly improved fighter after fighting him. Like, do you think he improved a lot since the days of you guys training together?
Yeah, and I wouldn't say so much his skills, right? I'd say more of his mentality and his belief, right? I knew Corey back when I was training out there, I was using him for my Dominic Cruz fight, because his motion was so good and his trickery was really, really well. He's always like the best training partner I had out there, and he wasn't even on the radar of the UFC. And I was like, man, we got to get this guy in the UFC. Like, he's legit, But I didn't think that he had like the grit or the belief in himself yet, and he's coming into that. So look, man, I wish him all the best, and it's awesome that he's getting a title shot. I mean, I'm unfortunately hurt and I can't step in there, so why not let it be him? I mean, he's a great opponent.
And I want to ask you about that title fight in a second. I had Corey on the show on Monday, asked him about your injury. I just want to play you a quick clip and get your response, okay?
Cool.
All right, here's Corey.
Yeah.
Could you tell that he was having trouble seeing?
He was blinking a little bit, man. I don't know. The guy has a lot of excuses coming off of a win. Like, I've heard him talk about his leg. I've heard him talk about his eye. And it's like, if you don't want to have a fight where you can't see and you have 2 fair limbs, then like, don't get your leg broken and don't get your eye punched. Like, don't make an excuse about it.
What do you think of that, TJ? Excuses or facts?
I mean, it is the fight game, right? That is a reality. And that knee was healthy. It was actually my other knee that was hurt going into that fight. So I did have a healthy knee, It was a real unfortunate situation that I blew my knee out, but I was able to push through and still get the victory on one leg. It's not an excuse. It's a more power to me of pushing through that and saying, fuck you, I'll beat you on one leg, But I mean, I know he's going to be bitter. It's a fight he thought he should have won. He's trying to push for the belt. And so, I'll let him be the bitter guy because I'm over that, man. I'm too old and I've been in this game too long to be pissed off at a sport that was my job because it'll make me end up hating it. So, I've gone through those drama situations. I've fought the Cody Garbrandts. I've had to deal with Dominic Cruz. And I've learned a lot through those fights that I actually fight better when I go in there with no anger and no animosity.
Did you feel like that in the past, like the animosity, like it consumed your soul and it made you into perhaps an unhappy person?
Oh, maybe not. Yeah, I mean, it would control your emotion for sure. I mean, this sport's crazy, man. All eyes are on us all the time, and that's a good and bad thing, right? Like UFC's done such a good job promoting us and making us so visual to our fans and our audiences, but it's also doing interviews and
right.
Who you are as a person, and just all that takes a toll, and your family life at home. So those 2 years off actually really kind of grounded me with what I want my life to be, and then I'm actually comfortable with not being a fighter, even though I love it and I'm going to continue to do it and get my belt back. But I'm fine. I've set myself up financially to where I don't have to fight anymore.
You had big fights throughout your career. You will continue to have big fights, but considering the layoff and what happened in the Cejudo fight and all the talk and all the anticipation for your return, is it possible that you were more nervous for this Sandhagen fight than maybe some of the title fights back in the day because of everything that was, talked about and everything that went into this return?
Yeah, that's definitely fair to say. Being a mentally tough competitor, you kind of have to lie to yourself all the time. Like you always have negative thoughts that come in your head, but you just overpower them with positivity. And so, yeah, I was definitely, nervous going into the fight, but I just wouldn't let myself be nervous, I guess, if that makes any sense. Just don't get my time to be nervous, just work. I think that's maybe why I work so hard too, is just to get rid of the nerves, right? When you're that prepared, you're less nervous. So, yeah, I mean, sorry, long-winded answer to your question, but yeah, I was definitely nervous going into the fight.
Well, I wish I could do that, by the way.
A lot of pressure on me, yeah.
How do you do that? Like, I get nervous. I can't talk myself out of the nerves.
Yeah, I think it's just something that I've had to practice my entire life. I never had to see a sports psychologist. It was just trial and error, just competing since I was 8 years old and, dealing with nerves and, and even if you're not a competitor, dealing with ups and downs into your life. I mean, dealing with negativity is life in general, right? And just learning how to think about it positively, no matter what the spinoff is, right? No matter what situation, whatever hole you put yourself into, there's got to be some sort of positive outlook you can spin on it.
Right. Maybe there's a delivery person or someone at the door.
There is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a delivery person. Yeah.
I've been there as well. You were just saying before I interrupted you, I'm sorry, a lot of pressure on you. You felt a lot of pressure going into this fight?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I was dealing with a lot of crap from the decisions I made, and understandably, but there's a lot to deal with and a lot to come back from, and just a lot.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know how else to answer other than that.
Do you get worried that the decision that you made for that Cejudo fight, the EPO, is going to cloud the entire career and all your accomplishments, and that people will bring that up when they talk about Barao, when they talk about the rematch and all that stuff, which,
not really.
You don't get worried about that?
No, because I know the truth. And I mean, if I'm going to sit here and worry about what every single person says, then I'm going to be a really unhappy person. Same reason we're always in the limelight. We have these fans, you have these haters, you have these negativity. Same thing I was already talking about, right? You got to be able to overcome that. And that's kind of like when we were saying the hole you dig yourself into. That was my hole, and that's what I was talking about, right? Like learning to overcome that. And it was a tough one to overcome. The first 6 months, I think, were by far the hardest. I happened to be on top of the world, going to ridicule, and then also going through double shoulder surgery, sitting on the couch. I mean, that's probably the most depressed I've been in the 6 months of my life ever.
Wow.
So getting through that, and then going nowhere but up from there is helps with all that as well.
How did you get over the depression? Like, what did you do to make yourself feel better?
Start training again. That's why I said the shoulder surgery definitely didn't help with everything that was going on, because I went from, as soon as I found out I was getting suspended, I scheduled surgery, because I've been needing surgery for like the last 3 or 4 years while I was fighting. shoulders dislocating all the time, but just kind of putting it off because you have big title fight after big title fight, and you don't have time to sit out for a year, but I knew I was going to have to be out for 2 years. So I got both my shoulders operated on. But it was also bad timing because, dealing with a lot of emotional stuff as well as sitting on the couch. I feel like if anyone's dealing with like depression or anxiety and things like that, I think physical activity and working out is the best medicine you can have. Screw all these prescription drugs you take and things like that. Actually get out there and challenge yourself and push yourself is the best thing you can do. And that first 6 months, I couldn't do that.
I couldn't agree more. Did you watch the sport at all, or did you need a break from it mentally? Like, would you tune into big fights or not at all?
I guess big fights and maybe fights that I had interest in for friends or teammates, right? Like I was coaching Juan Archuleta and some of the guys that were training at the gym and helping out with Cub Swanson get ready for fights and things. So I'd obviously watch those. But even still today, unless there's like some sort of invested interest of who I'm going to fight or a friend that's fighting, I don't really watch fights. I'm not one to. For me, it's almost like taking work home with me. Mm-hmm. Having the feeling of walking out isn't something I feel like having while sitting on my couch.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And, okay. And so you have the surgery, and obviously you're coming off a win. Did they or did they not call? I mean, I don't know if they would because they would know your status. Like, did they ask you if you'd be willing to fight Jan, or did they know that you're not healthy, so there was no point, that call didn't even happen?
No, they knew. They knew I wasn't healthy. They obviously knew what surgery I had. I mean, their insurance pays for it. Right. They know what's going on with me, right? Like I also just keep them in the loop. I have my manager Tiki keep them in the loop to know what's going on. It was going to be perfect. I was going to get back, get healthy, fight the winner between Jan and Sterling. That was the next fight. So now it's whoever's got the belt when I'm healthy.
Okay.
I went out there and proved myself. I was the one that vacated my belt. I didn't lose my belt due to a loss. I lost my belt due to the decision I made, and they had to vacate it. So when these guys are talking about they're feeling like they're going to be the true champion, even though he goes out and beats Jan, he's not, because Jan wasn't even the true champion. He never beat a champion at the bantamweight division to actually even become a champion. So there's never a real lying champion anyways. And now they're fighting for an interim belt. So I've already proved myself. I came back. I came off a 2-year layoff, fought number one contender. That title fight's mine when I come back.
Okay. And yes, that is what Corey said to us on Monday, that when I was asking him, basically, some people get the interim title, they kind of throw it to the side. They say they're not the true champ until they win the undisputed belt. He said he viewed Jan as the true champ because of what happened with Sterling in March. And you're saying, and there's a strong case to be made, that you never lost the belt, that no one ever beat you for that title. And so what happened? So the timeline with the knee, just so we know, realistically, when could you fight again if all goes well?
I'd say March.
Oh, okay. So that's not too bad.
March, April, I'd say March would be the best case. Making huge gains already. I'll be able to start doing super heavy strength conditioning and moving around, I'd say middle to end of November. Gives me time to get into a camp, get right back after it.
Okay, so then what happens? They have this fight on October 30th, and they may go to Aljo next. It doesn't sound like you want to fight anyone else, right? You want to fight for the belt next.
Oh, I don't even know if Aljo's ever going to come back, to be honest. From what he had done, to be honest, is kind of crazy. I mean, if I was him, I would have waited to get that done. My coaches, my strength and conditioning coach, as well as my wrestling coach that sells the medical equipment that did his neck, don't believe he's ever going to come back.
Really?
I think he's just holding on to this belt as long as he can and maybe try to soak up. I don't know that's just I've had that feeling already. So when he pulled out of the fight, I wasn't surprised. I bet he's dealing with nerve damage. I bet he's dealing with a lot of stuff. I mean, you go get your neck cranked on with what he's got done. I mean, it's definitely not good. So we'll see. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I don't know if he's ever going to come back.
Wow. So you think it was a questionable decision to have the surgery when he did after that controversial? Should have had the fight with Jan, clear it up, and then do what you got to do.
Absolutely. I mean, you're on top of the world. You're the champion. You won it the way you did, but now you're going to start getting paid like a champion. You're going to have these big fights. Like, take advantage of them while you can, not go out there and get this neck surgery. I mean, I understand he's got the problem. He has the injuries. I mean, I was dealing with 2 blown out shoulders while I was a champion, but I wasn't willing to sit out for a year because I had big paydays. Like, let's be honest, I'm in this sport because I love it, but I've been in it for a long time. I'm in it for the money, man, and like I said, I don't need the money anymore. Now I'm in it for these big fights, these big paydays. And, I am the best bantamweight right now. I'm the best bantamweight, I believe, of all time. And I'm going to come back and get my belt back and be a 3-time champion. So that's where my goals are at, right? But I just don't think he should have got the surgery.
I love this. And by the way, you don't hear a lot of fighters, especially, you're still relatively young. How old are you now? Mid-30s, right?
35.
35, yeah. Why don't you need the money, basically? Like, what have you done to put yourself in the position where you are comfortable to where you're not, going paycheck to paycheck like some other fighters at your age?
I've been very smart since day one, since I've been getting paid with the UFC. I've always known that this job is never secure, right? We don't have a 9-to-5 paycheck where I want a salary. I get paid when I fight. And, there's a lot of things that dictate when you fight: your health,
right?
Your opponent's health, the politics of who you're going to fight. There's just a lot of unknowns. And so for me, that makes me nervous, right? So when there's unknowns, like, I'm going to make sure I hold on to my money. I'm going to make smart choices. I'm putting away for retirement. For me, I was able to hold on my money and not buy a bunch of stupid shit and start businesses now that are paying me back. This residual income is paying me back from the businesses that I've started. I've just been really smart. I haven't been done with my paychecks. And I started this. I'm the area developer for Southern California for a company called Clean Juice.
Oh,
it's a organic cold pressed juice company. Do everything. We're the only USDA approved organic franchise in the nation. But we do juices, smoothies, sandwiches, wraps, all that good stuff. Like a healthy spot kind of fits into my lifestyle. And now we're going to open 63 stores from San Diego to North LA to Palm Springs. And I'm the area developer for that, So there's a lot of big things in the works for me outside of fighting. It's going to take care of me forever.
Wow. What is it like for you to see some of your peers, some of your friends, former teammates? Like, we saw Joseph recently retire. Uriah seems to be done. Chad, he's going to do the BKFC thing. But like the guys who you came up with, and not even just those guys, opponents, Hennon's out of the UFC, like to see those guys that you came up with slowly but surely walk away, call it a career. What's that like for you?
It makes sense. This is a tough ass sport. It's a tough ass career to choose, right? You get more beat up training and practicing than you actually do in your fights.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I wouldn't say my last fight, but I'd say normally, So, I've had 10 years in the UFC already. That's a long career, and so I can understand these guys going out. But I've taken care of myself. I have done things the right way. I'm really strict on my diet. I'm very strict on my physical therapy and my strength conditioning, to where I could fight another 5 years if I want to. And we'll see. We'll see how the future lays out and what goals I continue to set for myself.
Do you want to fight till 40?
I don't know. I guess that's a great way, is that I don't have to put a timeline on it. And I also don't have to say that I have to fight till I'm 40 because I need the money, right? It's all about how I feel and what my career is doing and how I'm performing. If I guess my question would be, or my answer will be, is if I can't say that I'm the best bantamweight in the world or best whatever division I'm in, then I'll retire. If I don't have a true chance of becoming a champion, then what's the point of chasing this? Especially when you don't have to do it for the paycheck.
By the way, one of the big fights that people wanted to see you in was you versus DJ back in the day. DJ was on the show last week. And I don't know if you saw, he's fighting this guy named Rotang, this Muay Thai legend, in this mixed rules fight. 1 round MMA, 1 round Muay Thai for 4 rounds. And I said, this is a crazy fight, DJ. And you didn't want to do the crazy fight with TJ back in the day. What changed? And so he offered, a different time, this and that. But did you know about this? And did you have a reaction when you heard about DJ taking this fight?
No, first of all, like I said, I don't pay attention.
Yeah.
I probably should pay attention a little bit more. But that's awesome, because if he's doing that, hopefully he's getting paid very well for it. I think his move has been great for him. I love seeing him and his family. He's got to make these smart moves right now and get the big payday so that he can, do the same as myself and set himself up for as long as he needs be. That he's not going to have to be. He's definitely not going to be one of those guys that you're going to be seeing fight too late, because he's also smart with the way he trains. He doesn't get beat up all the time. He seems like he's on a good diet, good regimen all the time. And he always seems like he's pretty smart with his money. So he's never one of those guys you're going to see fighting too long,
Right.
which is very unfortunate to see.
He told us that he saw you in Disneyland and came up to you and after the Cejudo fight and confronted you. Is that true?
Yeah, he did. He saw me at Disneyland. He's like, what did he ask me? He asked me like,
why'd you do it or something?
What it feel? Yeah, he said me like, what it feel like or something. You know what I mean? Like asking me like how it felt or whatever. I was like, to be honest, it felt like fucking shit. I was down to 4% body fat and I was anemic, so I felt horrible, to be honest. But that's how DJ is. Though he's so lighthearted. He's such a easygoing guy.
By the way, just curious before I let you go, what do you think of your old friend Henry Cejudo trying to fight for the 145-pound title? He's making the hard push. Do you think that he would be successful in that fight against Volkanovski?
I actually do think it's a good fight for him. Stylistically, I wouldn't say that like 45s is a great weight class for him for his stature and things like that, but Volkanovski is actually a great fight for him. And I do see that being a good fight for Cejudo. So, I mean, I'm not mad at him pushing for that because it could be a pretty interesting fight. It's a fight that I would watch. I don't watch many fights.
Right. Yeah, it would be big. Jose Aldo is fighting Rob Font, but he said he really wanted to fight you. If it's not for a belt, are you interested in that fight or are you only interested in title fights? Like if he wins against Font and then comes back and they say, hey, you can fight Aldo. We're going to do Sterling versus the winner of Sanhagen Jan. What do you think?
No, from what I've been told, I'm fighting for the belt next.
Okay.
No matter what that belt is. So that's kind of where my mindset's at right now. But shit, it's Jose Aldo. I mean, how could you say, Jose Aldo to me is an all-time legend. So it's hard to not think about taking a fight if it's offered to you. But I'm fighting for the belt next is what I've been told.
Who wins, Jan or Sanhagen?
To be honest, I think it's a little bit of a toss-up. Jan's got that grit. He's got that toughness. He's got that mental toughness, and he's pretty well-rounded. But Corey's flashy and dangerous on his feet. I can see it going either way. Depends on who puts the ball in their court. Jan does have that championship mentality, which I do think Corey's made a better improvement on his mentality, but I just don't think it's 100% all the way there,
Okay. TJ, I appreciate the time. I wish you a speedy recovery. Congrats on the return and overcoming everything in that fight. Unbelievable stuff. Thank you for always coming on the program and answering the questions, and looking forward to seeing you back in the first quarter, hopefully, of 2022.
Yeah, appreciate it, my man. Thanks for having me on.
Talk to you soon. There he is, TJ Dillashaw, the former bantamweight champion, and he said it right there. He has been told that his next fight will be for the bantamweight title. Really interesting to see how that's all going to play out. Sanhagen Jan, October 30th. Sterling, obviously, still the champ. You would think that the winner of the interim title. Now, worth noting, historically, we have seen situations where the interim champion isn't fighting for the belt next, right? We've been in a spot where I remember Robert Whittaker won the interim title against Yoel Romero. And then Michael Bisping was still the champ. Remember, he walked into the cage. That was July of 2017. And then they eventually did Michael Bisping versus George St. Pierre. And Whittaker had to wait. And then eventually GSP wins the belt here in New York. Came in studio a few days later. That was incredible. Vacated the title, had the colitis, unfortunately. And then they basically had Whittaker as the champ because he was the interim. So we have seen a couple times, and I think something recently might have happened. My mind is mush. But we have seen sometimes in the past couple times where the interim champion isn't fighting for the belt next. So it's possible, I suppose, Sanhagen, Jan win the interim title. And then if they told Dillashaw that he's next, and maybe he fights Sterling. I do, and I'm not trying to psych out, Mysterious Frank by doing this. I'm about to take the sip. But I have heard from people quietly wondering why Sterling had the surgery when he did. He's already explained that. And also whether or not he will fight again. I mean, neck surgery is serious stuff in this sport. Tough to delay it. Tough to come back from it. Tough to fight while you're still nursing it. It's tough. All right. That's annoying. That's obnoxious. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I apologize, Frank.
It's all good.
That's just obnoxious.
It's like Larry David.
I love Larry David, but I don't get the reference.
There's a whole episode of Curb where he just talks about at the end of drinking.
All right. I believe I know what you're talking about. I did have a nice message here from Team Pitbull, and they've said that if I come to Brazil, that acai is on them. I don't know if you guys have ever had acai in Brazil. Are you a big acai fan, Frank?
Yeah.
Have you had acai?
I have.
But in America?
Yes.
I've never tried a food that tastes so different in one place as opposed to its place of origin. In other words, yeah, you can go to, Milano or Napoli and have a nice pizza pie. And yeah, you can come to, New York City and have a pizza pie. And it's all different everywhere. There's different styles. You got the Napolitan, you got the New Haven style, you got this, you got that, Sicilian, whatever. You go to Brazil and you have acai, it tastes completely different than what you are tasting here in America. And let me be clear, 1,000 times better. It's one of the most, the first time I had acai in Brazil, out-of-body experience. I felt like my soul came out of my body and was sitting next to me. It was incredible. It was acai con granola from Bibi Sucos in Rio de Janeiro. And I had it with the granola blended in. There were no crazy toppings. It was just literally a cup of acai. My mouth right now is watering at the thought of that experience. And I didn't really like going to Brazil, if I'm being honest. But I did it, I think, 5 times in a couple of years to go to the fights, but mainly to have the acai. It was incredible. So if anyone out there from BB Sucos is listening, please, I would like a sponsorship, and I don't even want to get paid. I just want the acai, and I want the legit stuff. I want it flown over here, legit. I'm going to give it to the crew, and everyone will understand what I'm talking about when I talk about this divine piece of food. Without further ado, last guest of the day. Remember, after this guest, we'll answer your questions, so get them in while you can. She is the former UFC Women's Strawweight Champion. She's getting a chance to get that title back on November 6th, just a few blocks from here at the Mecca, Madison Square Garden. Perhaps we'll be live from the Mecca. They love me over there at the Mecca, at the world's most famous arena. They love having Helwani in the house. And it's a big-time fight on a big-time card. It's Usman Covington. It's the sequel. And it's Namajunas, Zhang Weili, number 2 as well for the strawweight title. Without further ado, let us go to the Zoom machine and say hello to Miss Zhang Weili, who's kind enough to join us right now. How are you, Zhang? Thank you so much for the time.
Hi, how are you?
Yes.
My new hair. What do you think?
I love it. I love it. Yes. I love it.
Thank you.
It's great. Thank you. And thank you to your translator as well. What is your name, sir?
Meng.
Meng?
Meng.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you both for the time. There's a lot to talk to you about, and so I'm really excited about this. Can I ask, why did you cut your hair? It was big news when you did it. Why did you do it?
因为我就是很早以前我就想剪了，因为每次训练柔术的时候头发掉的很多，然后我特别担心我变秃了。
I'm so concerned that I get involved from my jiu-jitsu practice. So I have always wanted to cut my hair, but now I have the brave enough to cut it.
Wow. And do you like it?
然后我发际线往上。
Yeah, 你喜欢这个？
Yeah, 我特别喜欢现在新的发型。
She liked it very much.
Okay. I'm assuming you got a lot of compliments. People like the change. It's a little bit, it's maybe a bit of a, a nerve-wracking thing to shave off the head, but it was a good experience for you.
Yes.
Okay. The other big change has been that you are now training in Arizona. You're in Arizona right now with the great Eddie Cha, the team over there at Fight Ready, getting ready for the title fight. Why did you come to Arizona to train for this fight?
因为在我第一次打 UFC 比赛的时候，然后就在电梯里，我就见到了亨利还有 Eric 教练，然后你先说。
Since the first time I came to the U.S., I have met with Henry Cejudo and Coach Eric, Captain Eric.
然后对，还说了你好。
So they already also greeted me in Chinese.
用中文说的，然后到了后来我们去了阿布扎比以后，就建立了联系。
So we have become friends after that.
然后就是我每次打完比赛以后，他都邀请我来这边训练。然后因为疫情嘛，我一直也没过来。
Every time, after I fought, he always invited me. Henry always invited me to come to train in Arizona, but because of the COVID, I never had the opportunity to come.
And so far, how do you like it?
现在喜欢那个训练。
我特别喜欢这次的训练营，然后所有的人都非常非常重视这个比赛，安排的训练啊，所有的东西都安排的非常好。
I really like the training camp here. It's everybody has been very very dedicated about preparing me for this fight. So, so far it's all very good.
My old friends, Captain Eric and Henry. Who's over there? Is that Captain Eric speaking? Who is it? Henry, who's talking over there on the side?
No.
It's not. Okay. They love the camera, those guys. I love them. Tell them I miss them, okay? Tell Captain Eric and Henry that I miss them.
让我告诉那个赛虎组的那 Eric， 他们非常想他们。
Okay.
They like to dress up, those guys, with the crown, with the glasses. Are they trying to get you to wear a costume as well?
他说他们喜欢扮演成那个就是盛装出席，然后穿各种各样的那个道具。他们有给你打扮吗？
没有，他们没有给我打扮。
Not yet.
Not yet. You would consider it though.
你会考虑要打扮成这种穿各种各样的新奇的衣服吗？
还没有。对，还没有。
Not yet. It's maybe not her style.
Yes, I can understand that. And also another change. I understand you've changed management too, right? Is that accurate?
你换了经纪公司是这样。
对。
Yes.
And it was an interesting one because your manager Brian, he was managing you and Rose, and you did this after the fight. Why did you decide to do that?
他说他之前是管理你跟 Rose 这样的。
因为一个是因为我们的语言不太通，然后所以沟通起来有很大的成本。还有就是他一个人经历我们两个人，然后我们在一起比赛的话，我觉得还是有点对。
I think just because he managed both me and Rose, I think it's very difficult for him.
Yeah, I can understand that. And so I want to ask you about the fight itself because I haven't talked to you since. In your opinion, what went wrong? I mean, obviously it was a tremendous kick by Rose, and it was one of the highlights of the year. But looking back at the fight, relatively short fight, what do you think went wrong in that fight that led to the loss for you back in April?
为什么觉得你4月那场会失利？你觉得什么出了问题？
我觉得其实4月那场比赛其实有很多很多的故事，对，但是我希望等我下次打完比赛再给大家讲。
I think the fight in April, there's a lot of things that didn't go as planned, but I want to tell everyone about that story after I'm winning this time.
Okay. And why is that? Just curious. And I respect that very much, but why do you want to wait till after the fight to tell everyone?
为什么？他说为什么你希望等这场比赛结束以后再告诉我？
我就是想打完比赛以后给大家就是讲一个完整的故事吧。
She said she just want to have a complete story after the November fight to everyone.
I understand. I saw that you said in local media in China that you saw what happened to Chris Weidman's leg, and then you had to go out right after, and it kind of distracted you. It messed you up, as it did many of us as well. Is that accurate, that, having to go out right after Chris's very gruesome leg injury against Uriah Hall kind of threw you off your game a little bit?
他说就是 Chris Weidman 他的那个腿断了，对你会有一点影响在上。
其实是因为我自己的问题，就是我自己不够专注，我应该专注于我自己本身，而不是去看到那个画面或者是在我脑子里影响，所以我觉得，然后他还在那个媒体上在那个 ins 上跟我说抱歉，其实根本不是他的问题，是我自己的问题。
So yes, it affected her a little bit, but is she feel that really, it's her own problem because she wasn't focused enough in the fight. So that's the reason why, she didn't, she got distracted. So and Chris even said in Instagram that, he's sorry, but that's totally not, it's totally Weili's. I feel that it's her own problem because she wasn't concentrated.
因为我只是看到了那一瞬间，我没有说是去怪他的意思。
I just, she just happened to saw it, not,
Sure.
Yeah.
然后我也希望他可以快点好起来。
And she hoped that Chris will get recovered very soon.
And you say that you weren't focused in the fight, that you weren't concentrating. Why not?
为什么你没有集中注意？就是你说你没有集中注意。
对，其实这故事的一部分。对，其实这次没有集中专注，没有专注那种比赛，其实很多的因素。
She said there is many factors that she didn't really focus on the fight.
Okay. And I'm assuming you don't want to say those now.
你现在不想说这些，各种原因。
你看，就是我们的行程，然后就是我们是在2个多星期以前来到美国，但是我们来到美国要坐2天2夜的飞机。我在路程上已经2天2夜。
Yeah. So for example, like their schedule, they came to the U.S. 2 weeks before the fight, and they have to spend 2.5 days on the flight.
对，然后我们的那个，我们就是，然后还好我们在要讲那个故事嘛，还好就是我们在佛罗里达有一个特别好的朋友帮我们。
Yeah. So they're fortunate that they have a friend in Florida that helped them out. But yeah, it's just a long story.
I understand. Okay, I understand. And so losing the belt and having to go all the way back home, how long did it take for you to get over that moment? Because I'm sure you were very sad and it was, traumatic to get finished like that. For you, how long did it feel like you needed to get over it? Or maybe you aren't over it yet and you need to get over it on November 6th. How would you describe the aftermath of the fight?
他觉得就是比赛后，你觉得你从多长时间需要调整自己从那个实力中站，然后还是说的？
我觉得大概3天吧，很快。对，然后当时就是觉得，当时很不开心，就是在场上我就是表现得非常不好，因为我当时真的就是太不甘心了，就感觉比赛没有开始就结束了。然后带了这么多的团队，然后经历了这么多困难，然后来到这儿，比赛没开始就结束，我心里特别不甘心，就是很不接受。但是过了我晚上睡了一晚上以后，就接受了这个现实，然后我就觉得这件事对我来说是一个成长，不是一个坏事。对，因为这场失利以后会让我变得更强大。
So yeah, she was took her about 3 days. So when she just lost the fight, you can see she wasn't react very well because she feel that the fight has not even begun. So and also because she feel that she brings so many people from China to come here and lost the fight in that way. She just feels it's not it's not a good way to end the fight. So it definitely is. She feel very sad when she lost it, but to her, as she just 3 days later, she feel that she think that the loss may be not a bad thing for her. The loss made them learn a lot, and it couldn't make her stronger. So she think that the loss is not a bad thing for her.
It seemed like the crowd was booing you. Did that bother you?
说那个现场嘘声对你有影响？
其实我要说没有影响肯定是假的，对。但是我知道这是 Rose 他希望看到的，包括他之前说的那些言论，我觉得他成功的利用了现场的观众，对我造成了一些影响。对。不过还是我自己的问题，因为什么呢？因为现场观众他们可以选择自己喜欢的运动员嘛，然后我下次一定会专注我自己的内心，然后就快点。
I think it definitely affected me a little bit. I think the comments that Rose made, I think she was successful in making the audience booing her, and also but again, I think that is my own problem because I should be concentrated on the fight and not on the audience, because I can't control what audience like, who audience like. So so I'm becoming more focused on my own fight.
Did you feel like her pre-fight comments crossed the line? Did it become too personal and thus make you too emotional? I wanted to ask you about them before the fight, but I understand you were very busy. I'm wondering how you felt about the pre-fight comments from Rose that you're referring to.
他说就是这 Rose 就是赛前的那个一些说的话，你是怎么想的？你觉得那个是过了界了吗？越过了一个界？
其实我觉得，因为我们大家都爱这个运动，喜欢这个运动，所以我们就是相聚在一起，包括很多观众，我们喜欢这里，我们才相聚在这个体育馆里看我们比赛。然后运动员，我觉得就是一个交流，就是一个切磋。就是在我的印象里，我觉得就是我们都是舞者，我们就是以武会友来交朋友的。但是我觉得
So in my mind, yes, I think that those comments across the line because I think all the audience, all the fighters, we all come together at UFC or in the octagon is because we all have we all share the passion of the MMA sport. And in my mind, I'm coming here because I want to make friends because we all have the common love of martial arts. Go on.
对，然后就是我觉得体育里面不应该掺杂这些不好、更正的东西。然后
I think it's not a good thing to mix sport with politics.
但是我觉得这是他的计划。
But I think that's maybe her plan.
但是我一开始没有觉得他会影响我，我就觉得就说了，我也没有回应，我也没有当回事。然后但是对，我就觉得他说垃圾话嘛，我就没有当回事。但是到了现场，我才知道他为什么这么说。
So in the beginning, I thought it's just a kind of trash talk. It really didn't affect me. But when I go out to the stadium, I got booed. I think maybe Rose wanted to make those comments just to make inside the audience to boo me.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate, and you certainly don't deserve to be booed, in my opinion. And so after the fight, I think a lot of people thought that maybe Carla Esparza would get the next fight against Rose. How did you get the title fight? What did you do to get the rematch right away?
他说很多人觉得应该是卡拉来打 Rose， 为什么会马上认识重赛？
我觉得有可能大家希望看到我们比赛真正开始，真正打起来吧，因为上次还没开始打就结束了。
Maybe there's still a lot of people want to see us to see a real fight between me and Rose because last time the fight did not even start.
Were you surprised that they went back to you? Did you think that they would go to Carla first and you would have to fight someone to get back to the title shot?
你觉得意外吗？就是你有那个重赛，就是你会想到可能卡拉先打你再打？
没有，我没有觉得，因为我在赛后的时候我也说了我想打二番战，然后包括很多观众他们肯定也希望打二番战。
No, I'm not really surprised because after the fight I was I made a statement in the social media that I want a rematch and I believe that there is a lot of the audience wants to see a rematch.
但是我特别感谢UFC 给我这个机会，也感谢 Rose。
But I really appreciate UFC giving me this opportunity and also Rose to take on this fight.
There is a big Chinese community in New York City. I'm wondering if you think this time you will be cheered, that you'll have a lot of your fellow countrymen and women in attendance at Madison Square Garden to cheer you on. And also, by the way, have you ever been to New York City in your past?
但是就是这次就是在纽约打，纽约有一个很大的华人群体，觉得会不会有很多的纽约的华人来现场给你加油？然后你之前去过纽约？
我之前去过纽约，但是我还没有去过那个麦迪逊花园那个体育馆。我很期待那天的比赛。我觉得那天应该会有很多华人去看我们的比赛。
I think I have been to New York City once, but I never been to Madison Square Garden. I'm very much looking forward to the fight, and I want to see. I also expecting there are some Chinese audience would want to go to cheer me.
但是这次如果他们再虚我也不害怕了。他们虚我的话，我就当他们喜欢了。
But I also adjusted my mentality. I think even if audience boost me, I think they just like me.
I like that. Yes, a lot of the most popular fighters are the ones that are getting booed. And back home in China, is this a big deal? Is this fight? Is this getting a lot of attention? Are you getting a lot of attention? Do you feel like even though you're still not the champion again yet, that people are covering you like a star back home in China? What is it like?
他说，在中国，你觉得大家都很关心这场比赛吗？虽然大家还是把你像个明星一样的对待。
大家在中国有特别多的格斗粉丝啊，他们都非常关注这场比赛，他们还跟以前一样对我非常支持。
So in China, there's a lot of MMA fans. They are very interested in this fight, and they have been supporting me. The same in the same way that as I was the champion. So yeah.
And how is life back there in China now with the pandemic? Is it starting to get back to normal? What is it like?
他说现在中国是怎么样？就是说中国的疫情什么的，现在都好一点了。
对，现在的中国的疫情特别好，然后所有的人都可以非常正常的生活，所有的行业也都正常在运作。
Yes, in China, the pandemic is being much better, and everybody being work and to travel and as usual.
因为我们那个防疫的话，就是常规化，然后大家都。
Yeah, we have a very strict, COVID prevention protocol, so that's so that has been controlled.
Okay, just two last quick questions. Number one, who will be in your corner for this fight?
说你这次边角会有谁？
这次我们的边角会有Ready， 然后这边的会有 Eric 教练跟那个 Eddie， 还有我们自己团队的教练。
So it will be a mix for my Chinese coach and the U.S. coaches. So I think Captain Eric and Eddie Cha will be in my corner.
Not Henry.
We would love. 他说那个亨瑞不在了。
亨瑞应该不去了。
生孩子。
对，亨瑞他要生宝宝了。
Because Henry will have a baby very soon. We would certainly love to have him in your corner, but we understand that maybe he will have a baby at that time.
但是亨瑞这次帮我特别多。
But Henry has been my coach during the whole process.
每天早上
every day he's teaching me something about wrestling.
对，摔呀，然后打呀，
just all kind of wrestling and the ground and pound, all that good stuff.
And so with that in mind, how do you think you beat Rose on November 6th?
你觉得11月6号你会怎么打败 Rose？
我觉得就大家去关注这场比赛，然后大家去看吧。反正我现在挺兴奋的。
So I'm very excited about it. I think the audience should just watch the fight and see what's going to happen.
Okay, fair enough. Zhang, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it. Happy to see that you're in good spirits, smiling, healthy, and very much looking forward to this fight in a little less than a month in New York. When you come to New York, I'm in New York right now. This show in New York, you can come in studio and greet us if you have the time.
Thank you. See you New York.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for the translation as well, guys. I really appreciate it. All the best. There she is, Zhang Weili. Big time fight coming up on November 6th. UFC, Madison Square Garden. Anytime they go to MSG, they bring a good card. They bring a big time card, a loaded card. And if you ask me, this one is pretty damn great. Of course, the first one was back in the day, UFC 205, 2016, the Conor McGregor fight. Eddie Alvarez. Conor becomes champ. DC fought there. I'm doing the old. He did drop me down a little bit there. It was nice. It was subtle. The old lean back, lean back, lean back, lean back. George Bisping, but this is a great one. Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington. Rose Namajunas versus Zhang Weili. Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje, which is going to be incredible. Luke Rockhold versus Sean Strickland is a fun fight. The return of Luke, Lucky Luke. Frankie Edgar versus Marlon Chito Vera. Bobby Green versus Ally Quinta. This is prelims. Ian Gary making his much anticipated UFC debut against Jordan Williams. Alex Pereira making his UFC debut. Edmund Shabazian returning. I mean, this is big time stuff. TJ Laramie. Shane Burgos against Billy Quarantillo. And of course, the legend. I mean, to round it all out, the absolute legend, John Vellante on the card. Not fighting Todd Duffy. But he's still on the card. All right. Whoops. Time now to answer some questions. And I believe you guys are liking this segment very much. And by the way, some people write me like, come on, guys, in the chat, we don't want to disable the chat, but we might have to. Clean up your act. Enough with the nonsense. Like, I'm just looking at this right now. We might have to just disable this thing because it's getting embarrassing. Let's clean up the act over here. I mean, come on, guys. Who are these people? Who are these psychos that write these things on the internet? It is a bizarre place, a cesspool of humanity. And let's go to some internet questions. How about that? What a transition that is. Of course, everyone buzzing about the On the Nose segment. It has become a staple of this program. You ask me questions. I answer you in the most unfiltered, uncensored way possible. Everyone buzzing over the birth of Helwani on this program a few weeks ago as a result of the questions asked in this segment. And of course, at first, it was a very sort of, DIY operation. But thanks to our good friend and colleague, the great Mike Heck, we now have a theme song. I mean, it's just a great thing to be a part of. And so without further ado, MF, hit my music, baby.
It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived to hear from the man himself, Ariel Helwani. Live from the Box Studios in beautiful New York City, it's On the Nose. And now, to answer your questions, get out of your seats and on your feet because here he is, Ariel Helwani.
Fantastic stuff, Mike Heck. Congratulations on your Red Sox winning. Still bummed about that whole thing. Blue Jays getting completely screwed. But nevertheless, I'm happy that the Yankees and their annoying, entitled fans are saying bye-bye. Enough of those guys. I've had enough of them. Every loss. We deserve better. We're 27. Get out of here. Move on. All right. Time now to answer some questions. ArielHelwani.substack.com. Now, last week, Mysterious Frank said, hey, you're going with the new ones first. Not fair. You got to go with the chronological order. I thought I was going with the top rated ones. Apparently I screwed that up. And so let's go with chronological, and let's go to Ryan Diamond, who is first 8 hours ago. By the way, what's the final count? 76 as of right now. 75, 76. Okay, let me go chronological. Here we go. Dana's comments last night didn't seem to indicate he's fully against Volk Cejudo. What do you think is the possibility we see this fight next for Volkanovski? Here's a lesson that Henry Cejudo is learning right now. Henry Cejudo is learning a valuable lesson, and it's a lesson that George St. Pierre learned. Conor McGregor learned it to a degree. But of course, they didn't have the same clout that Henry does. In other words, they had more. But the point is, Henry Cejudo is learning that when you're a UFC champion and you retire, but aren't necessarily serious about retirement, there are repercussions. There is nothing probably that pisses off Dana White more, in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure, things I say, fighter pay, I'm sure they're up there. But I got the impression over the years that there is nothing that pisses off Dana White more than a champion vacating a title. It throws everything out of whack. And I don't think he liked the fact that Henry did it. And I don't think he liked the way in which Henry did it. Beat Dominic Cruz, big time fight, return after the pandemic, and then less than an hour later, he's at the press conference and he's saying, well, for the right kind of money, I'll come back. And then ever since then, a year and a half later, he's still talking about coming back. And now he wants to fight Volkanovski. Now, for the record, I said, once they book the Max Holloway fight, that's kind of the fight to make. Max Holloway's fighting against Marina Rodriguez in November. Alex Volkanovski wants to stay active. Now, of course, bumps and bruises coming off that war against Brian Ortega. But now the timelines are not in sync. My initial suggestion would have been just do Max Holloway versus Alex Volkanovski. Obviously, they're not doing that. And so I actually don't hate the idea of Cejudo trying to make history, jump up, let that be a one-off, and then you can move on. I actually don't hate it. I actually will say I'd like it. It's a big deal. It's a big-time fight. There's no obvious guy out there. There's Giga out there. There's Holloway, obviously, a year coming back. I actually don't hate it. I would support it. If they booked that fight right now, you wouldn't hear a peep out of me. And that's the difference between me and other people. No grudges here. It's always unbiased. Henry and I don't really speak that much anymore. He turned on me, and that's fine. The old heel turn, I would say, was not exactly the most effective one because he's out there looking like nobody beats the Wiz. But nevertheless, it was the old screw job, and that's good. More power to him. I would say right here and now, despite the screw job, despite the knife in the back, I would be in favor of that fight. I think what he's learning is when you're champ, you shouldn't vacate the title and then use it as a power play. They don't like that. It doesn't sit well. Now, yesterday, Dana White said, tough conversation. Sound like he kept the door a little bit open and maybe there needs to be a face-to-face. I think they should look to it. I think they should be open to it. And given the timelines, unless they've got some other trick up their sleeve, I don't think it's the worst idea of all time. Mr. Helwani, what does your featherweight GOAT list look like? Jose Aldo's in that mix. Conor has to be in that mix because he beat, he beat the King in 13 seconds. Volkanovski has to be in that mix. Holloway has to be in that mix. Probably those four. This is a weird question. Ariel, love your show. Only true MMA show in my book. I agree. That's not the weird part. Is it true that you said publicly during a conversation in a local pub, all right, now we know it's a lie because I haven't been in a local pub in God knows how long, that Alexander Rakic would smash John Jones, Jan Blachowicz, and Yuri Prochaska in the same night? If it's true, I agree 100%. No, but I'm glad you agree. I did not say that. Ariel, can you explain Cejudo retiring and with about 2 weeks asking for fights with anyone who has a name/belt? The cringe gimmick was funny at first, but it's played out by now, and I believe he thinks he's a much bigger draw than he actually is. Yes, that is true. He thinks he's a much bigger draw. He's not GSP. He's not Conor. Now, he's one of the greatest fighters we've ever seen. His resume speaks for itself. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He's a two-time division champion. He's a flyweight champ. He's a bantamweight champ. I mean, you cannot take anything, regardless of what you think about this man, and actually cut a pretty good promo, if I'm being honest, to my man Mark Ramundi of ESPN on Monday, I think. Regardless of what you may think about this guy, like, his resume speaks for itself. I think he's living the gimmick now. I think he's worked himself into a shoot, and I think he needs to pivot. Whatever this is, next gear, pivot. Again, I remind you, back when, we were rolling deep, he was rubbing elbows with the Bella twins. Now it's nobody beats the Wiz. I mean, this is just going to happen. I move my hands a lot. I'm just that kind of guy. This is an absurd question here. What is going... Listen to this question here. Last week I asked for a short, concise. Helwani, please assign high school yearbook-esque awards for fighters' weight class. What would they be? Are you kidding me right now? best dressed, best personality, best comedian, most likely to be president, most likely to be cult leader, most likely to win a Nobel Peace Prize, most likely to get lost at Are you kidding? Driver, attendance, creative, gullible. What is this question? It's one of the weirdest questions I've ever gotten. I don't even know. Like, shout out to Lemonade, but I can't. Patrick. I mean, we've got too many questions. We got 75 questions here. I mean, we got a long, we're waiting for the good stuff. I'm waiting. Tag me in. This is me with the string in the corner, turnbuckle, Saturday night's main event. I'm asking for the hot tag right now. The crowd wants me to come in. They're asking, but until I get the tag, I can't jump in. Helwani. Can you see a scenario when Conor is ready to come back? Do they do the Nate trilogy for co-main? They do the Nick Robbie trilogy. No. First of all, Conor and Nate would never be the co-main. Nate, I don't know if Nate's sticking around till next summer to fight Conor. He's trying to get a fight in by the end of the year, early next year. I would love to see it, but there's a part of me that wonders if the ship has sailed. By the way, a fight that I would love to see for Nate, I'd love to see the Vicente Luque fight, a fight that people don't talk about enough. Nathan Diaz versus Tony Ferguson. Why not? Both coming off losses, both need a big fight, both need a big win, both have history. Now it would have to probably be at 55. Maybe Tony goes up, but and I know Diaz feels a certain way about that, but like they were supposed to fight back in the day. Why not? With Derek Brunson and Kayla Harrison coming on the show, does that mean other dominance fighters will come on? You and Frankie Edgar always had great interviews. Much respect to Frankie, much respect to Kamaru Usman, much respect to Kelvin Gastelum, much respect to Vicente Luque and Henry Cejudo, Khabib Nurmagomedov, all those guys. Never a problem here. Despite what they will say to you, they'll say two-weight street, and you guys need to clear up your beef, and you guys need to do that. Never a problem here. As I've said time and again, listen to my words. Before you spout off and start saying that I'm creating drama, I'm saying right now there is no beef here. Despite the things that were done to me, despite trying to get me fired, despite trying to put me in a bad spot at my former employer, ESPN. No bad blood. Shake your hand. Move on. We'll go, in a positive direction. And so that's on Derek and Kayla. Much respect. You know how I feel about Kayla, and I was really happy to hear that Derek wanted to come on. But no, to the best of my knowledge, the embargo has not been lifted. And if they don't want to lift it, that's on them. That's totally on them. Shalom. If you could fight in the UFC, what weight class would you choose, and who would be your dream fight? A lot of people think I'm smaller than I am. A lot of people joke that I'm a flyweight, that I'm a bantamweight. In reality, I'm actually 200 pounds, believe it or not. I mean, I don't know if you guys recognize the twisted steel and sex appeal that is running through these veins. So yeah, probably cut down to 85, if I'm being honest. My dream fight? No one. I would never even dream of fighting in the UFC. I don't have the cojones. I don't have the chutzpah. I don't have the panache. I don't have. They possess something. That's why I hold them in such high regard. They possess something that I can never dream of possessing. DNA that I never dream of possessing in my body. When are we going to see UFC events return to Canada? Haven't heard anything. Hopefully next year. Also, who do you feel has to be next for Tony to get back on track? Let's go, Nathan Diaz. I just said it. I know, of course, you wrote this 8 hours ago, so you didn't hear me say it. Ariel, you're a stylish guy. Any recommendations on a jacket brand? We won't receive the white stuff in Cincinnati quite like you do in New York, but it'll be dipping pretty low soon. Wow. I mean, I've never heard. I've got a great Roots of Fight Bret the Hitman Hart jacket. Anytime I wear it, I feel like the coolest kid in the world. And yes, I know I'm 39, but still. No, I don't know. People like Canada Goose, but I think they use feathers from geese or something, or coyotes. That's a little weird. Canada Goose is very warm. I used to have one back in the day. In fact, John Gooden kind of made me feel bad, if I'm being honest. I went to dinner one time with John Gooden, part of the Michael Bisping Anderson Silva fight, and I felt like such a schmuck afterwards because John Gooden is one of the biggest menches out there, and he's a vegan, and he sort of called me out on my jacket, so I got rid of it. Ariel, if Cody Garbrandt beats Kai Kara France, does he jump Pantoja and fight the winner of Moreno Figueiredo. It's possible. Big draw, big name. I mean, Kai Kara France, not exactly an easy out, but yeah, I mean, Garbrandt, Pantoja, them's the break sometimes, you know? We have seen them go with the bigger draw first. Dear Mr. Helwani, what year did you start ordering UFC pay-per-views, and why did you order it? Who was on the card? The first digital pay-per-view that I ever ordered was UFC 66, and that was Liddell Tito. That's off UFC. I think it was still UFC.tv. The first pay-per-view that I ordered, so there was that period. So the early days, UFC 1, I watched it, not live, but my grandparents had one of those illegal boxes where you can watch all the pay-per-views, all the wrestling stuff and, you know, boxing, it was all on, and they would replay it over and over and over again. You just had to catch it. And so that's how I saw UFC 1, probably a few months after, a few weeks after. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I was sitting there on November 12th, 1993 watching it live. I wasn't. I was, 11 years old. But I did watch it shortly thereafter. I was aware of it, and, you know, I knew the characters and Ken Shamrock and all that stuff. Royce, of course. I think the first one that I actually bought was when I was in college, 2001 or so, because at that point I'm sitting, I have no friends, I have nothing to do, and I'm ordering everything. I was such a loner in college, and dare I say loser, that I used to order the Wednesday night TNA pay-per-views for $5.99. Who remembers those? Every Wednesday, instead of having a TV deal, NWA TNA had a pay-per-view, and I would order those. That's how much I was jonesing for something to do. How often do you drop the F-bombs in your private life? Because I must admit, these last 2 months of having Mr. Helwani drop F-bombs every 2 to 3 podcasts that you're on has gotten me taken aback a little. I kind of miss the sweet, innocent Helwani, but I do appreciate Mr. Helwani better because he keeps it effing real. Someone gave me crap for it, so I'm gonna listen. I do have a bit of a potty mouth, if I'm being honest. You people think you know me. And it's not like I've been, you know, having a front, but, you know, you're professional, you're coming up. You are now, for the first time, I think, finally seeing the real me. There's no front. There's no persona. There's no buttoned up, even though I'm wearing a button up. I'm just me. And so if I'm excited like I was on Monday and I need to drop an F-bomb because it slips out and I'm just riding high, then so be it. I'm not going to overuse it. I'm not going to overdo it. That's cheap. That's salacious. But this is me. Like I said, I'm not just a gimmick. I'm living it. Unfiltered, uncensored. Conor fighting at 145, no chance. Excluding Conor, who do you see as the 5 biggest draws in the sport today? Oh my. Wow. Excluding Conor. Excluding Conor, Nate Diaz has to be up there. Khabib not up there. Is Jones still a draw? Is Kamaru a draw? I mean, that's the pound for pound list. Izzy, I think, is up there. I think Francis should be up there, but it's unfortunate. There's a report out of France today that they're looking at January 22nd for the Cyril Gane fight, so that's good. Max, Stipe. Not a lot of Dustin for sure. His stock has gone up. So those are some of the names. Why does Dana tolerate all these domestic violence cases with fighters? John Jones and Mike Perry, among others, have, and there'll be no repercussions. Mike Perry did have to, Mike Perry's situation totally different. To the best of my knowledge, he was never arrested, charged with anything so different. He did have to go through anger management for that other incident. I mean, look, I can't answer that question. That's a tough one. Obviously, there are rules, and there are different rules for different fighters. We know this, but you know that's a question that you have to ask them. Ariel, love the Fury interview from Monday. Thank you for continuing your excellence in MMA journalism. Thank you. Andrew Schultz would have to pull a big tuna upset to dethrone Helwani. Yes, I agree. There's this comedian, again, who I mentioned to Dan Hooker, who's doing this gimmick that he's the greatest MMA journalist of all time, and I don't even know why. I think he may have said something that pissed people off, so now he's just leaning in, and people think that I'm being trolled, and I'm almost like insulted by the idea that someone thinks that I'm that dumb to be trolled by a comedian. Obviously, I know it's a gimmick and a joke and all that stuff, but I guess I'm just kind of, I mean, like, is anyone else tired of these fourth or fifth rate comedians just sort of infesting MMA? Like, I get you guys are fans and everything, and that's cool, but could we just keep it as such and leave the analysis and the interviews and the big boy talk to the big boys, to the ones who do this for a living? I don't know. I saw a response. Everyone's telling me, like, watch out. He's going to come. Like, and I saw it and I was like, okay, is that, I mean, I kind of think he's a fan. I mean, if he wants to come on the show, if he wants an 8x10, if he wants a cameo, I'll make it happen. Like, it feels like he's a fan. He doesn't really, and I don't really want, like, I don't know. I never heard of him. I thought people were talking about Charles Schultz. I was like, what are we talking, isn't that the Charlie Brown guy? He's talking about my nose. Like, I mean, he seems to know a lot. I mean, I never heard of him. But he seems, I mean, like I said, anyone who's a friend of his, he's a friend of mine, in my opinion. He's got great taste. So I'm not necessarily looking for, more beefs. I am confused by, like, the one comment and everyone's saying 10-7, 10-8. First of all, it's my gimmick. Second of all, if that's a 10-7, 10-8, I mean, what I've been dropping lately, I mean, those are like 10-3s. Come on, guys. Like, we can't just be throwing these things out like candy, on Halloween night. You got to work for it. So anyway, I went on a tangent there. When can we expect Bryce Mitchell to come back? I don't know. I think he wants to come back. He's been antsy, but nothing yet. Assuming that you cannot run away, who would you rather fight? 3 Henry Cejudos stacked on top of each other, or 1 Brock Lesnar? Definitely the 3, because I feel like they would topple over, right? Ariel, have you ever inquired about getting Caposa on your show? Caposa is a legend. I have an immense amount of respect for him. Twitter legend, part of the fabric of being part of the MMA community is, the guy, like the people like Caposa, those guys, they make being an MMA fan fun. MMA Twitter, people like to talk about whatever the hell that is. Caposa, Bohashinho Debo, these are fun guys to follow. Caposa is just a freaking, I mean, the guy's an encyclopedia. He's literally watching right now, Dagestan Fighting Championships 74. He's taking notes. He's tweeting about it. He's live tweeting as we speak. It's unbelievable how he knows that all these things are happening. He has forgotten more about MMA than I'll ever know. And he's just a great follow. He's, to the best of my knowledge, a very sort of reserved person. He has been a huge help to me for the awards. I think I may have even extended an invitation at one point or another, but nothing really came to fruition, and he wants to do his thing, and he's a great service to us, so no more than that. But I'm a huge fan, and there was a period where he was taken off Twitter, and it was good to see him come back. What are your thoughts on the Dan Hardy-Tyron Woodley beef? I don't know. Are they going to fight? I like Hardy a lot. I really do. I have an immense amount of respect for him. I think he's one of the best minds in the business, and I was sad to see him part ways with the UFC, but it seems like he's doing great for Cage Warriors. By the way, shout out to the Cage Warriors team. Brad, Dan, they do a great job. My old friend, Edith LaBelle, they all do a great job. They really do. Cage Warriors has a nice little package going. They really do. I just don't know. Does Dan want to fight? Does he not want to fight? I don't know why he wants to fight. Maybe we'll have him on the show. Because his last fight was 10 years ago. He had the heart issue. Like, why even do this? Why even entertain this? I know he's been going back and forth with John Wayne Parr, Tyron Woodley. Maybe we'll have him on to talk about it. But he's a great mind. Just watch your interview with Renee Paquette. Do you plan on returning the favor? Absolutely. Huge fan of Renee Paquette, Renee Young. I would love to talk to her one day, where I'm the interviewer. All right. Let's keep it rolling here. Good afternoon, Ariel. Surreal Guy looks like he has a nice jump shot. Would we ever see some hoops content on your personal YouTube page? I mean, lest we forget, Benson Henderson challenged me, nowhere to be found. Demetrius Johnson challenged me, nowhere to be found. Daniel Cormier challenged me, nowhere to be found. I would take Surreal Gown down on the block, back him up, a la Charles Barkley back in the day. A little 1, a little 2, a little shimmy, a little dream shake, if you will, and I would just completely scorch him. I mean, it wouldn't even be close. So, of course, if he wants some of this smoke, I'd be happy to oblige in that regard. Thank you for being such a professional and enthusiastic bridge to my favorite sport. You make MMA so much better. Wow. MMAQ. Is it conceivable that we'll see the creation of a national international commission? I have been campaigning for this for a long time, but I don't think it's happening anytime soon. I would love the idea of one American commission where we have the same rules, same regulations, same leadership, state to state. Like, I would love that, but I don't know if it's happening anytime soon. Sign me up, though. Open scoring, sign me up. Non-MMAQ. Reading the Wikipedia entry listing common misconceptions, I learned that being tattooed may not actually preclude one from being buried in a Jewish cemetery, as is commonly believed. So tell us about the sleeve you'll be getting. I would love to get a sleeve. I think it would be cool. I don't think if I have, I don't have the physique for it. And I actually still, regardless of what you may say about the Wikipedia entries, I actually kind of feel like, based on what I've been told, I can't be buried in a Jewish cemetery, and that's a big deal for me. But it would be great. A little color would be nice. Not the ones where it's just like ink. That's weird. It's like, what? It's just black? Non-related MMA question, but it relates to your boy Vladdy Jr., my man. How can you sincerely say that Vladdy's the MVP over Shohei Ohtani? P.S. I subscribed just to ask this question. Thank you. Okay. One of the greatest years of all time. Look, I understand that Shohei is doing something that no one has seen since Babe Ruth. And I understand that it's somewhat of an anomaly. But if we're just looking at his impact on his team, that team is nowhere near the playoff picture without Vladdy. Considering his age, historically what he has done at his age, 22, I mean, he's in the conversation with Ty Cobb, for God's sakes. I think that Vladdy, and now him making the playoffs probably would have helped. I think Vladdy had a better year. Now, of course, there's the pitching component, but what did that do? They were nowhere near the playoff picture. And so if you want to give it to Shohei, before he hangs it up as a pitcher and focuses on batting, fine, go ahead and do it. But if you ask me who was more valuable, who was the most valuable player to his team in the American League, there's only one answer, and it's the great Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You often talk about an independent MMA Hall of Fame. What would have to happen for it to be a reality? A lot. I mean, one thing that these other Hall of Fames have, writers, media guys, we're working on the MMA but it's not quite, a flowing thing. It's in a much better place now. Josh Gross being president is massive. He's doing a great job. I feel more momentum behind it than ever, but we have a lot of things to do before we start thinking about a Hall of Fame. So perhaps a sponsor. There's a lot that needs to happen. Probably not happening anytime soon. But I think before my days are done, and hopefully that's not tonight, I think we'll see it. Happy belated Simchat Torah. What was your bar mitzvah parsha? I don't remember. But holy smokes, that's a random question. I still put my tefillin on till this day. A little known fact for those that know what that is. Ariel, hope all is well. Why do you believe we don't see more interim champions defend the title when a champion is out? By the way, still standing here waiting for the tag. Waiting for the hot tag, and I haven't gotten it yet. Like the old days when Barrow and Frank Mir did it. Do you believe this should happen more, especially when a champion is legitimately injured? Oh, that's the interim title thing? I think they were less, I noticed it. I saw it. I felt it in my ears. I think that they were less eager to strip the titles back then. Now they want to move things along. By the way, there are more events now, so there's a need to have the title fights, that sort of thing. Where's Josh Emmett? I want to know. Yeah, he had a bunch of injuries. I think he's still nursing those. What is one fight that you could think of that you wish had happened or bothers you that it never happened? Brock Lesnar against Fyodor Emelianenko, or Randy Couture against Fyodor Emelianenko, or Anderson Silva versus GSP, although I wasn't really one to really campaign for that fight. Izzy versus John Jones will be up there. John Jones versus Francis Ngannou would be up there as well. When will Conor make his return to the MMA Hour? I've reached out. Of course, you know me. I reach out to all the big names, and I know he's in the States. Open invitation. I'd love to have him on. We have an open line of communication. Would be great. If he's in New York, in studio would be nice. Via the old Zoom machine, Skype machine. So one of these days, hopefully we'll have him back on. Hypothetically speaking, if Wilder wins on Saturday, the series would be 1-1-1. Would both fighters want a fourth match? Viva Helwani. That'd be interesting. Yeah, we saw a fourth fight between Marquez and Pacquiao back in the day. Yes. What has impressed you most about working with BT Sport? I like them very much. Great guys, great lads, and I like their vibe. I like their vibe very much. Hello, Ariel. On your IG story today, you posted a screenshot of you listening to Hit 'Em Up. Oh, what a great song by Tupac. One of the great diss tracks of all time. Yes. Yes. One of the great diss tracks of all time. I used to listen to that song before every basketball game in high school because it would just fire me up. The passion, the emotion, the animosity, the hatred. It just got me in the right mental space. Is there context behind this or anything you'd like to get off your chest? And so I'll consider that the hot tag, even though it's not exactly the tag I was looking for. I'll consider that the hot tag, if you will, because we're running out of time. And so I know a lot of you want me to respond to Brendan Schaub on his show. A great soliloquy, a great rant, 10 or so minutes. Thank you to the PF Chang's crew for the clip. I would never know otherwise, of course. Why would we know? We don't check social media, right? We don't know what's going on. And, you know, it's like one of those things. It's like, again, do I have to go over this? Again, do we have to talk about this? It's the subtle, not so subtle shots. It's the passive aggressive. It's the quick mentioning of the name. And there's a part of me that doesn't want to drum it up all over again. But then there's a bigger part of me that is tired of the bullies, tired of the BS artists, tired of the fake people. And so I kind of feel compelled, if I may, on behalf of the MMA community, to speak up. And if I may, and they haven't asked me to do this, to perhaps, I don't know, defend our honor. And so I came away from that little clip with a few conclusions. Number one, the biggest one was this man legitimately thinks that he is better than us. I want you guys to realize that. This man thinks he's better than us. And when I say us, I don't just mean me. I don't just mean the MMA media. I mean you as well. Watch the demeanor. Listen to the words. This man thinks that he is better than us. And he's sitting back and he is talking about, you know, having talent, not having talent, careers, money, jobs, places in life, pecking orders, what you've done, what you haven't done, and casting all kinds of conclusions on people, all kinds of aspersions, all kinds of fabrications on people when really, you know, you don't know what you're talking about. And he sits there and he talks about how he wants to be positive, and he talks about how he wants to, you know, have a good, peaceful life. Meanwhile, this is the guy who's been talking shit for the past 5 years. This is the guy who is literally sitting there while talking about being positive, insulting MMA media, saying that they're irrelevant, calling them hacks, while saying that he wants to be positive. This is the guy who, after 5 years of listening to his lies about not just me, but others as well, finally made me snap. Don't get it twisted. This is not a positive fellow. Don't fall for it. It's, again, fake and phony. And now I can't wait to see who calls me, who texts me this time to say, hey, we want to be friends, olive branch, and then not follow through. Because last time it was Brian. The first time it was Brendan. Who's going to follow up this time? Is it Shrimp? Is he going to follow up? I'm tired of the fakeness. And all I said was, all you guys had to do was apologize cleanly once and for all, and this would be over. I wouldn't keep bringing it up. In fact, I'd probably ignore the question like I ignore some of the other questions that people try to get me to answer that are, you know, scraping the bottom of the barrel. But you don't. You make it worse. You sit there and you talk about how MMA media are a bunch of hacks. You sit there and you talk about how MMA media are a bunch of losers who never walked into the fire, who are just weathermen, who have no talent. First of all, let me explain something to all the fighters, all the managers, all the promoters, all the hanger-ons, all the sisters, all the brothers, all the mothers, all the fathers involved in MMA, in the MMA community. Let me be very, very clear about something right here and now, because we've heard it since the beginning of time. We've heard it since we all started. MMA media are hacks. They're losers. They can't hang. They don't know what they're doing. These are the men and women who have devoted their lives in some way, shape, or form to covering you. They're the ones who have told editors, hey, you should focus on this sport. You should focus on these fights, on these fighters, on these organizations. We're usually the first to go, believe it or not. But these are the people that focus on you and cover you and think and talk about you 24/7. It's not the other media that you wish you were covered by. Trust me, I just came from the mainstream. They don't know you like we know you. They don't care about you like we care about you. They don't follow you and cover you like we do. And so whenever you guys talk about MMA media being hacks, what does that say about you? What does that say about you when the people who have devoted their lives to covering you are the hacks, are the losers? What does that say about you? Think about what you're saying about yourself. These are the ones covering you. Do people talk about that in other beats? Oh, the baseball media. Yeah, of course, you may not like someone here or there. You may not be on the same page. But we hear this time and again from these people. Oh, they're hacks. They're this, they're that. They've never been through the fire. Meanwhile, not every political reporter has run for president. Not every film critic has made a movie. Not every restaurant critic has run a restaurant. It's a tired, lazy BS excuse to hide from the other stuff. And you talk about these op-ed pieces. So there was this piece in Bloody Elbow about Joe Rogan. First of all, I don't agree with the piece. I think Joe Rogan is a valued member. I think he's an important part of the sport. I think he should be in a Hall of Fame. He has done a tremendous amount of good for the sport. I have no issues with Joe Rogan's place in the sport. My only issue is the one that I said back in the day, 2016, when he spread the lie, and I'm over it. I don't care. Honestly. My uncle goes on his show. It's all good. But this article was saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from the broadcast. Now, I don't agree with that. I think the way they use him is perfect. 12 shows, it's perfect. Pay-per-views, it feels like a big deal. He's a star. He's one of the biggest comics in the world, one of the biggest podcasters in the world. It makes sense. He was there in the dark days. He's there now. He loves the sport. And then for 35 other events, or whatever the number is, 31 events, you get Bisping and you get DC and you get Paul Felder and you get Dominic Cruz and you get, obviously Anik and Brendan Fitzgerald and John Gooden and Laura Sanko. I mean, you get the best of the best. So I don't agree with it. But every time there's an opinion piece, they're like, this isn't journalism. First of all, you talk about people who don't know what you've been through. Who are you to talk about journalism? What the hell do you know about journalism? Because you sit in front of a microphone? You know about journalism? Because you've been interviewed by people you know about journalism? You don't. And if you did, you would know that since the beginning of time, since the beginning of media, since the beginning of papers, newspapers, internet, radio, the op-ed piece, the opinion piece, the column has been a part of journalism. Everyone knows that there's opinion pieces in the paper. There's straight newsers in the paper. There's something for everyone. And so what's the difference? We're not allowed to have an opinion? That's a part of covering the sport. So you dismiss this like it's like, oh, that's not journalism. That's not this. Of course. It is journalism. It's a part of journalism. Talk about the hacks. Talk about the guys, who need to talk about you guys for clicks. First of all, they were talking about Rogan. They weren't talking about you. He has the talent, you don't. Let's just call it like it is. He's the guy with the $200 million Spotify deal. You don't. And so don't lump yourself in on that fight. I think it's honorable. I will say, I think it's honorable. The loyalty is nice. I will say that from the bottom of my heart. I like a guy who has a guy's back. Pause. But you know what I'm saying. I like a guy who defends the honor of his friend. You know what I'm saying? I respect that. Much respect. Honestly. But this had nothing to do with you. And you use this article as an opportunity to take shots on a bunch of people. And if I'm being honest, it felt like you were just talking about me. And that's why I'm spending so much time at the end of the show about this. And so let me clear up something right here and now for the final time, because it will be brought up over and over again, and it will still probably be brought up. I have never, in my life, in media, going on 15 years of doing this, I have never had a conversation with an editor, with a website, where someone told me about clicks. Write about this, write about that. I've never been paid off of clicks. I've never been asked to make headlines that are click-worthy, clickbaity. these detractors, these naysayers, love to talk about the clicks and how we write stuff for. No one cares about that. You think that Joe Rogan piece is going to break the bank? You think it's going to change the future of Bloody Elbow, of Vox Media? By the way, Vox owns Bloody Elbow. I don't have anything to do with them, but hey, sister site. You think that changes anything? It doesn't. Stop saying that. And even if it did, you're in the pay-per-view business. You're in the ticket selling business. You're in the podcast business. People in the newspaper business, what do you think? They did things like just for the, sake of it, out of the goodness of their heart? Of course, everyone's here to make money. So like when you use that as a reason to hate on something, it's A, inaccurate, and B, stupid, because it's actually, the complete opposite of how people run business. People try to sell things the same way you try to sell merch to no one and rip off logos of other people, the same way you try to sell, comedy tickets to no one, and then they have to combine the days, the same way you try to put up podcasts to no one and pay for views and downloads. It's the same thing. You would like to have those clicks. You would like to have those listens. You would like to have those dollars and cents, but you don't. And the issue is we're all in this to make money, but no one has ever said do this or that in order to get some clicks. Now, there were a couple pot shots at me that I must address. The jobs. How many jobs have you been fired from? How many jobs have you had? Again, I wish he would just at me. I wish he would just, say my name directly, but, I don't know. Maybe Helwani is too tough to say in a soliloquy like that. Let's correct the record. I've only been fired from one official job, and that was the Fox job. You know what happened there. You know that had nothing to do with me. You know they paid me for the rest of the year, and you know the reason why I was let go was because the UFC told them to let me go. Now, you could bring up the Showtime gig as well. That was a 3-day gig. It was a 1-week gig. They paid me out as well, and that, again, was because of the UFC. Other than that, I have stood the test of time. And if you want to call up Bristol, Connecticut right now and ask them about the contract they offered me, go ahead. I was not fired. Now let's talk about you. College football, how'd that go? How'd NFL go? How did fighting go? How did comedy go? How did podcasting go? How did TV go? Did you achieve your goals? Did you realize your dreams? Did you make it to the top? Was your claim to fame being told by your friend that it was time to move on and it was a great moment? I mean, we talked about it on this show. He put you over. You were the biggest baby face in the biz. You had it. Silver platter. You had it. You were going after everyone. You were on this show, that show. You were the guy, the truth teller. But how did those gigs go? And how are they going now? Don't talk about other people's jobs. Again, you do this fake gimmick where you're like, oh, holier than thou. I just sit back and I stay in my lane. I don't read anything. You do that whole gimmick. Meanwhile, you read everything. You're affected by everything. And then you throw these pot shots. Those who live in glass houses should not throw any kind of stone, ever. And right now, that glass house is, it is right there. Wherever that, it is sitting right there. Don't talk about people's jobs. That's how we got into this mess. Don't talk about people's livelihoods when you don't know. Again, you keep doubling down. You'll text me and you'll apologize, and then you'll keep talking about it again. And so the bottom line is, tired of people like you spitting lies, BSing us all, pretending like you know what you're talking about. There's a reason I never spoke about you for 5-6 years. I never responded to you. I don't need to. You talk about how I need to have 17 guests or so on my show. First of all, 5 today, and they were great. 6 if you count Pitbull. I love talking to these people. There's a reason why when I went to ESPN, they wanted to do Ariel and the Bad Guy and DC and Helwani, and actually the biggest point of contention between us was that I wanted to talk to too many people. If you look at the YouTube numbers on the nose, this segment does better than most of the fighters. But I love talking to the fighters. It's all about the fighters. It will always be about the fighters. So you can make fun all you want that I get 17 guests on my show, that I need these guests to get over, to get views, and that, oh, if we talk about you, that's how we get. I never uttered your name I never said a word about you. You're the one who keeps talking about us. You're the one who keeps sitting there looking at the websites when your boy pulls them up and talking about us. And then you steal our ideas and our contents. You do it to Luke. You do it to Brian. You do it to me. You do it to everyone. You steal our ideas and you sit there and you pass them off as your own, and you even botch it when you do it. You botch it when you do it every single time. You sit there and you rip off our ideas. It's plagiarism 101, except you're not writing anything. You're saying it. And it's harder to catch that way. But trust me, we're all onto you. You sit there and you talk about Tyson Fury being your favorite fighter, and then you say that you want to slit your wrist when you hear about mental health in Tyson Fury. You truly love Tyson Fury, you fake phony. You care about his struggles with mental health. So you could say all that you want about the 17 guests. You could say all that you want about the fighters. I love talking to the fighters. I will always love talking about the fighters. And at least I don't pay them to come on my show. At least I don't have to pay them to come hang out and eat a taco with me. And at least I don't have them say, hey, you got to do this show if you want to do this show. You know what I'm talking about. If you want to shoot, we'll shoot. Stop talking about things when you're living in a glass house and you have no idea what is going on. If the knock that you have against me is that I have 17 guests on the show when I don't, but I have fighters on the show, big names, small names, middle names, medium names, God bless. But at least I don't pay them to come on, and at least I don't try to cut deals from one show to the next. And in conclusion, I'll just say, and this is a shout out to my friends over on the internet, the PF Chang's community, the homeless cat community. And this is a message to everyone in the back over there. This is a message to any friend I have, to any family member I have, to any colleague that I have, to any associate that I have. If it ever gets to the point where I am big enough to where there is a Reddit page, any kind of web page, made in my honor to celebrate my show, where they only talk about the podcast, if it ever gets to that point, congratulate me. But please, do me a favor. Please, bottom of the heart, do me this favor. If it ever gets to that point where there's 40,000 or so people whose sole mission is to expose you and to call you out on your BS, please tell me to stop. Your own community turned on you. Your own community figured you out. And we know you're rattled by it. And I'm not a proponent of online bullying. But dare I say you brought this unto yourself, my man. You brought this upon yourself. One more time. Stop talking about me. Stop with the fake apologies. You did it well the last couple of weeks. You didn't bring it up. You stayed in your lane. You were in the storm. We were reporting on the storm. Better that way. Joe Rogan doesn't need you to fight his battles. Do your thing. God bless. Stay in your lane. Do your shows. I wish you nothing but the best. But stop talking about me and the MMA media. Stop lying about the business, people's jobs, the fighters. Stop all of that. And again, I'll say I'm done. Until the next time. Unless you want to just apologize once and for all on the air like you said you were going to do, like you promised me that you were going to do, like Brian Callen said he was going to do and never did. If you guys want to do that, then that would be great. And I would be here to accept said apology. And so to go back to the original question, why I posted that screenshot. F Brendan Schaub. F the fighter and the kid. F below the belt. F that whole crew. And if you do want to be down with them, then F you too. Brian Callen, F you too. Shrimp, F you too. Dude in the back with the websites, F you too. When I see them, they run. Okay, now I won't stop with the analogies, but you get the point. F all those guys. I'm done with them. Again. Once and for all, stop talking about us. We are done. And so that's my piece on that. Shout out to Omar. And it's crazy that I said it the first time. And then, I mean, may you rest in peace. But I will remind you guys, it's not a gimmick. It's a lifestyle. If you come at the king, you best not miss. Once again, I don't care who you are. And you could stay in my good graces. You could stay awfully quiet, but you best not miss. And this guy and these guys, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, continue to miss. Clank, 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 clank. They continue to miss. Stop shooting. We're good. God bless. Enough. 2 more questions. Let's not end on that note. And then I'll say goodbye, giving you a little more. Shout out Ariel Helwani. Quick one this week. What has been your favorite part about having the MMA Hour back in our lives? To talk to the freaking fighters, to talk to them in a free and unfiltered way, to bring them to you like we had Tyson, like we had Zhang Weili, like we had TJ Dillashaw, and to freaking tell it like it is. Once and for all, to not have anyone tell me you can't say this or that. To tell it like it is. Honestly. Don't listen to all these people. There's these guys that come out. One of them I was talking to earlier in the day. I will say to you right now, no one has emptied his closet out more for all of you. No one has told it to you like it is more. I will tell you when I messed up, UFC Fox deal, and I'll tell you when I've been wrong. I will tell you when I have a mea culpa that I need to announce. No one has been more real. I believe that from the bottom of my soul. I wasn't as truthful over the last 3 years because I couldn't be. But you come here to me, right here, I will tell it to you like it is, and I won't hide away from any of those BS artists out there who want to sling mud, who want to be bullies. Those days are over. Ridiculous essays here. I agree. Last one. What made you a Knicks fan? I walked into a shoe store. My brothers told me, buy those shoes. I said, sure. Whose are they? They were Patrick Ewing's, 1991. I fell in love with those teams, the orange and blue, the hard hat Knicks, the tough guys, Oakley, Starks, Ewing, Pat Riley, Van Gundy, Mason, Xavier McDaniel. And I just bleed orange and blue. Kemba Walker is back in the city. Evan Fournier is on the squad. Julius Randle's back. RJ Barrett is back. Basketball, dare I say, is back in New York City, my friends. And with that, we're out of time. Big week of fighting coming up. Reminder, we're off on Monday. We're back on Wednesday. Mysterious Frank, you can hit my music, baby! It feels good to get things off your chest. It feels good to be real. It feels good to be honest. It feels good to say, look, I got nothing to be ashamed of. I'm not a liar. I don't make up things about people. I don't look down on people. Remember these people. They look down on you. They are not your equal in their minds. You're better than all of them. But remember that. They look down on you. They think they're better than you because you haven't walked the fire. You haven't been in the flames. Get out of here with that nonsense. Get out of here with that nonsense. And if you were smart, you would leave the comedy bits to the comedians. And if you were smart, you would leave the MMA talk to the actual people who care about the sport, who love the sport, who actually watch the fights. Go do the other stuff. Go do the 50-seat amphitheater that you do. Go do the little comedy club. Go do the 2-for-1 specials. No one will miss you because no one wants that negativity. Your fake positivity, which is really negativity, no one wants that in their lives. Stop talking about us. Done. Once and for all. Can we end this right now? Can we end this right now? Are we done? I hope so. Thank you to all our guests. Thank you to everyone who stopped by. TJ Dillashaw, Zhang Weili, Scott Coker, Patricio Pitbull, Mackenzie Dern, Tommy Fury. Thanks to the crew. Thanks to all of you. Viva Helwani, baby! Back Wednesday. Same time and place. Till they say peace. I'm out of here.